Hey guys, sorry I've been gone all week, and it upsets me that I left you guys with no content this week. I didn't upload anything after last week's Box Office Addict, even though I made 5 videos last week, but I thought, to make up for this, to give you guys something after giving you so little, well, I thought I'd punish myself accordingly at that. And what was the proper way to punish myself, I thought, was, well, I've been talking a long time on this channel about doing live commentary tracks for your entertainment. Now, I typically planned on doing these around nighttime, in the evening, because I thought that would just be more entertaining, and honestly, I just enjoy watching movies more during night. But I thought this should be a new tradition. Now, I'm not promising this is going to be on every Saturday, just like Box Office Addict has been consistent for 45 weeks. But I'm thinking this is a new thing. I might as well just start it instead of just talking about it all the time. So, from now on, I'm going to try and do a live commentary every Saturday for a different movie. Now, you think I would just talk about movies I love. Now, wouldn't that just be boring? If I was just sitting here praising things and going into why they're so great and giving you an analysis? So I thought, why not start with Michael Bay's Transformers? Now, I was thinking about doing every Transformers film at first, but I might just separate that. I'll talk about this one, then a different movie next Saturday, then do Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, and so on. Because I honestly don't think I could sit through 5 Transformers movies 5 weeks in a row. It's just, honestly, it would give me AIDS and cancer. Oh my god, why am I wasting my Saturday on this? This is cockballs. I mean, really, there's no way to spin this into a positive thing. We're gonna have so much fun with fucking Transformers, Michael Bay's Transformers. This is the best Transformers movie, and it's still shit. It's still bad, and it's the best one. That's why I have no need to watch the sequels. I've seen the sequels. They're terrible. Each one's worse than the last. I don't know how he does it. You know, it's weird. Some series get better. Well, that's pretty rare, but Michael Bay somehow makes a worse film each time. So we're going back 11 years ago to 2007. We're going back to the adventures of Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf, when he first met Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Now, this film was a huge hit when it came out. This film was honestly a surprise hit. The trailers were pretty great, but nobody knew how big it was going to be, and it kicked off a franchise that made billions of dollars. The opening weekend was $70 million. It went on to make $319 million domestic and $700 million worldwide. Even the reviews weren't that bad. It's got like 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics didn't praise the film, but they gave a pass to the special effects. In fact, it's one of Michael Bay's best-reviewed films up there with The Rock. The thing with this movie, for better or worse, is that it showed Michael Bay could translate his style into a mainstream film that could become a mega blockbuster. Sure, people like The Rock and Bad Boys, but they weren't the biggest hits. And Armageddon made a lot of money, but a lot of people hated it, and it cost a lot of money. And of course, there's the disaster of Pearl Harbor and the island. But with this film, audiences loved it. The sequel had a huge turnout. The third film had a huge turnout. Now, eventually that ran out to the fifth movie, but for a while, the Transformers series was loved. I remember being a teenager then and all my friends thinking this movie was awesome. And I would try to argue with them about it was a bad movie. I mean, I remember many nights of this. And I ended up seeing this film 3 times in the theater. Mostly not by choice. I went on opening weekend just for the hell of it. Then I ended up seeing a double bill of this at a drive-in, and I can't remember what the other movie playing with it was at the time. I think it was Hot Rod, which ended up being much better than this. And then I saw it a third time with a group of friends because they all wanted to go see it. Now, did I casually enjoy Transformers 1 the first time I saw it? Yes, mainly for the special effects. And I will say this film was robbed of the Oscar for Best Special Effects. It got beat by the Golden fucking Compass, which actually has pretty bad CGI. Say what you will about the Transformers series, but especially the sequels, but this first film, ILM's work on the Transformers, despite the design being god-awful, the actual effects from '07, they look really good. This was a nice-looking movie, at least, you know, from the point of view of special effects and all that. They look good. The Transformers look good. They look pretty damn good. And I think ILM deserved the Oscar that year, but for some reason the Academy was smoking crack. So, God, now we're going to watch the first Transformers. I have the movie ready. So get your DVD ready, guys. I know you all own a copy of this. Think how many DVDs this movie sold to. So I'm going to play the original Transformers. I have it on my computer right now. And we're going to watch the entire movie together. I really don't want to sit here for 2.5 hours and watch this movie. I have much better things to do. Fully Cooley 2 premieres tonight. I hope that's not disappointing. I'm a big Fully Cooley fan. Glad to see Haruko back and all that, but I have feelings that's going to be underwhelming, especially since Guy Nax isn't doing the animation. But whatever, I thought this would be fun. We're doing it. God, 2.5 hours, Jesus Christ. I would skip around, but that would be a little unfair, wouldn't it? I have to actually go through this. I hope the next film that we go through on every Saturday isn't, you know, the Oscar-winning Transformers. That would have been kind of hilarious, but awesome. I mean, it deserved it. It deserved the Oscar that year. I mean, I'm being fair, you know. This was one of those times that the special effects to this movie, it deserved the Oscar, and it got robbed. And I think that was the sentiment everyone felt here. Now, I actually think the CGI takes a huge dip in the sequels. I don't think the sequels look as good as this film did, for various reasons. And like I said earlier, this is probably Michael Bay's best attempt at this series, and at least has somewhat of a coherent story. The sequel's biggest issue is just terrible editing, no characterization, no story, a bunch of cringe jokes, they're overlong, it's boring. You just get wore out, and it's pretentious. Somehow Michael Bay makes these really pretentious films. Yeah, you guys can make requests, sure, what you want me to watch. Doesn't mean I'll watch it, but you can throw them out there, and I might. Don't have the movie, but I'll play Fallout and listen to the stream. I disagree, Dark of the Moon. I think Dark of the Moon has good special effects in their sequences, but I think it's less consistent than this movie. This movie, for being from '07, I think has much more consistent and astonishing special effects. I was less impressed by the third film, but there are some good special effects. The second film looks terrible. Revenge of the Fallen's awful, and I really don't want to sit through that film. So this is going to be rough, but I guess I might as well start it since we got 2.5 hours to sit through. What's your favorite scene from Transformers 07, if you can recall? God, you know, this is weird. I'm not going to go back to the past because I did see this movie a lot. I watched it at home a few times too, so I'm familiar with it more so than the other films. What's my favorite scene in this movie? God, I don't know. Maybe the scene where Bumblebee gets taken, even though it's not earned emotionally at all, the E.T. moment. Maybe the moment that Optimus Prime first shows up in front of Shia and Megan Fox, in front of Sam, when he first transforms. That's a pretty cool little moment. There are cool moments to this movie. I'm actually being a little unfair to it. There is some cool stuff in this movie. The Force battle in Revenge of the Fallen's like the one good scene in a 2.5 hour piece of crap. Oh yeah, continuity errors, terrible acting. I mean, this first movie, once again, to its credit, for a Michael Bay movie, especially in the modern day of Michael Bay, this is much better than a lot of his other films. I wouldn't say this is the best Michael Bay movie, I would never say that. I think that's ridiculous, but I can say this is probably like, I would probably go like The Rock, Bad Boys, and then this with Armageddon. They're probably tied, and those are the best Michael Bay movies for what it's worth, unless you want to throw The Island in there or some shit. Should Guardians of the Galaxy have won the best Oscar for one for special effects? Wasn't it Interstellar? Interstellar had much better special effects than Guardians of the Galaxy. Interstellar is going to look good like 50 years from now. It's not going to look dated at all, where Guardians is going to look a little dated. It looks good, like Rocket and Groot, but compared to the stuff in Interstellar, I don't even think it's close. If I'm thinking right, if that was 2014, I believe Interstellar won very deservedly so. Yeah, it is the only good sequence. Yeah. It is Bay's best film. Spielberg held the gauntlet. Interstellar did win. Yeah, it did feel like Spielberg kind of kept him a little tighter as a producer. It sucks somebody else didn't make this movie. I'm a big Transformers fan. The cartoons, the toys. I love Transformers, the comics. I think you could make a good Transformers film. I used to get in arguments with people. They go, oh, you thought they'd make a good film out of a toy commercial in that cartoon? And it's like, yeah, I think you could make a good Transformers film, you moron. Imagine if James Cameron had made this. Imagine if I already explained that, Bridge. I've been talking about doing commentaries for a while. Imagine if James Cameron had made this, or Spielberg, honestly. Just if someone else had made this. This could have been a really cool film. The only thing that's ever really held back this series is Michael Bay. There's so much stuff here to play with, and the Transformers as a concept is so cool. You know, this could have really been its own, like, Marvel Cinematic Universe, but much like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, they just fucked this up. They couldn't keep it consistent, even though fans did love the first movie. Although, I don't know how well this film holds up. I remember it being entertaining in a fun special effects movie in 2007, but it isn't 2007 anymore. Okay, FX? I was thinking someone else would have directed it, but I forgot. I am a bit curious to see what the Bumblebee spinoff will be like since Michael Bay's not making that one. I am too. Maybe if Michael Bay doesn't do this, we can get a better movie? I would take Pacific Rim 2 level of movie over this at this point. So I'm going to start the movie because it's so long and I might as well just talk over the movie. Holy crap. This is going to be absolutely bonkers. Thank you for anyone who's going to sit through this with me. I know it's long. This is going to be an insanely crazy experience. I haven't seen this film in years. God, I can't remember last time I saw this film. I know I saw it a lot when it came out. I'm trying to think the last time I actually sat and watched the whole movie. I've watched clips from this movie. You know, like moments from it. Some scenes I think are cool. I think it's cool when Optimus takes out the guy with the sword. Isn't that Demolisher, I think? That's a pretty cool scene. Watch clips on YouTube. But I haven't actually sat down and watched the movie probably in like 8 years. Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks presents. Thank you, Sam. We came to save you. Oh yeah, this starts with narration, doesn't it? I'm not playing the volume because I don't want to get copyright, so I don't know what they're saying, but doesn't this start with Optimus Prime narrating? Cybertron. Yeah, it's him talking about Cybertron and what happened. See, I always thought this movie would be better if it opened with the Battle of Cybertron. Like a 20-minute action sequence, all of Saving Private Ryan, showing the Transformers fight the Decepticons. Leading into it. It just starts with really generic voiceover and images, and it's supposed to be like, oh, this is awesome. Oh yeah, there's the cube. I remember when I was a kid, I watched Beast Wars and Beast Machines, where Optimus was an ape. And he had the Matrix, the fucking Matrix, Neo and all that inside of him. So the movie starts with a cube floating through space. Man, I forgot about that. Holy crap. And some rocks hitting it. This is really exciting. Total Bayhem on display here. And the cube is breaking the atmosphere into the earth. I'm doing the Arnold thing where I just described the movie. This is the part of the movie where this thing happens. Haha. Transformers. You know, I wonder now if there'd be a transgender commentary in a modern Transformers film if this was to come out today. So we start in the Middle East because this was during the war, I guess the ongoing war, but this is back when we were still in the thick of it. And we have Tom Brady look-alike here. What's this guy's name? Josh something. He looks like Tom Brady and Timothy Olyphant. The hell's he's married to Fergie. The hell's this guy's name? Mr. Generic guy. Somebody tell me his name in the chat. I know Tyrese, but I can't remember this guy's name. Josh Denham, transphobic. Isn't that even sillier? Oh, I thought you wrote Stiller. Josh Duhamel. That's right. He's one of the constants of this franchise, isn't he? Like in every movie. It's funny too because the sequels. What I love about the Transformers sequels, seeing that it was so funny, was that he would show up, and it was supposed to be this big moment for fans of this original. Like, oh my god, his character's back. I love him. It's so funny. Like you're supposed to be endeared to these people and excited when they show up in the movie. That's so. I remember that about the sequels. Like Michael Bay would make a big deal out of it. Like, oh my god, Josh Duhamel's back. Aren't you excited? The Lagoon. So this is about as generic and Spielberg ripoff of an opening as you could possibly have. It's a bunch of military guys and they're going to a base and they're all just being cool with each other. He's more than a cameo in like the third movie. He's in quite a bit of that one, from what I remember. Yeah, he's in Dark of the Moon. Yes, he is. Isn't he? Is he not in that one? I thought he's in the sequence where they jump out of the helicopter or the plane and they fly down on the squirrel suits. I thought Josh Duhamel was in that. That's the third movie, right? You want a Robotech movie? They've been trying to make a Robotech movie for a while. So yeah, I remember this was honestly, I mean, Mike Spielberg. This feels like Roland Emmerich. This reminds me of like Godzilla or Independence Day or The Day After Tomorrow type stuff. Like that's yes, he's in Dark of the Moon. He's not in Age of Extinction. That's right. He's not in the fourth movie or God, Age of Extinction's freaking awful. That's legit one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. I'm just not one of those hyperbolic people. It's like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But it's legit. Transformers 4 is one of the worst films I've ever seen. No question. I know there's one he's not in. I can't believe this is what we're talking about. That's how unexciting this movie is. It's just generic, you know, military helicopter crap. Oh, he's talking to his wife and kid. You're supposed to care about them. I love you guys. Oh, look how big your cheeks are getting. I want to squeeze your cheeks and eat them. That's right. And then the Transformer attacks the Decepticon, which is actually a pretty cool sequence, from what I remember. Maybe it looks like crap now. I am going off memory of years ago. But back in the day, this was a pretty cool sequence. The military base at night and the Transformers attacking. I only remember Transformers getting played on my stupid junior high forever. Everyone was jerking off to Megan Fox. Oh, it was awful. Honor to the end. No, I remember that every fucking dude was obsessed with this movie and Megan Fox when I was a teenager. I mean, I used to have ongoing arguments with people about this movie. And then I remember being in the theater and seeing trailers for the second film, and there was a girl sitting beside me. And she's like, oh, I love Bumblebee. And you remember, that was a funny thing with the second film, because in this film, they fixed Bumblebee's voice to where it's not just a radio anymore. And then some reason in the second movie, he has the radio voice again. They just ignore the continuity. Like, Michael Bay's like, well, that was a gimmick that worked in the first movie, so let's keep it. I mean, I'm not knocking Megan Fox. She was attractive. That was one of the greatest casting couch things that ever happened, was that we got Megan Fox. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's the Transformer. I'll do a live sound effect. So the Transformer, you know what's cool about this scene compared to a lot of the other scenes Michael Bay does in the series, is a lot of the scenes in the series Michael Bay just puts a bunch of mess on the screen. It just looks like metal clashing with metal, and you can't make out what's going on, and there's a bunch of quick cutting, and there's no sense of scale with the Transformers, and a lot of it doesn't work. What's cool about this scene is you really don't get a good look at the Decepticon too much. There's a lot of like explosions and its feet on the ground, and you get these shots from a distance. It's like rips the roof off, and you see it for like a few seconds, and you see its hand. That's cooler. I wish there'd been more of that in the whole series. Even though I will admit, Dark of the Moon has some like really nice wide shots of Optimus flying and fighting and all that stuff, but There's more menace, you know, less is more, as they always say. Seeing less of the Transformers actually makes them feel more grand and adds more tension than just, you know, metal clashing with metal and a bunch of slow-mo shots. It's cooler to see these guys inside the building and all this aftermath, all this stuff actually happening. And we don't really, you know, like these guys, they're running, the military guys, they're running by tanks and stuff like that. And you just see the explosions going off, and you kind of get this Cloverfield-esque shots of the Transformer. You see the tanks getting thrown in the air. That's cool. That's good action direction. That's the way you should stage a sequence like this. This movie, unfortunately, now one thing about the movie it tries to do by design is show you more and more of the Transformers as it goes on. But yeah, Tyrese with the feet just on the ground. That stuff, that's really cool. There's still way too much going on. This needs to slow the F down. There's way too much going on here. Holy crap. Like, God, just take 5 seconds. There's a lot of shaky cam. Oh my God. Michael Bay is just shaking the fuck out of this camera. Jesus shitting Christ. God, I don't know why this feels so generic. Just seeing these military guys and the way it looks, it's just so generic. Oh yeah, he shoots the little scorpion guy out of his back into the ground. I remember that now. He shows up later. Man, this Transformers just blowing the fuck up out of everything. Holy God. And now we're at school with Sam Witwicky, the greatest protagonist of all time. Fuck Luke Skywalker and Indiana Jones. It's all about the Shia. This was the year of the Shia. Disturbia came out. That was a huge hit. Surf's Up, he did the voice for in this. Do you remember when girls all wanted Shia LaBeouf? I couldn't have been the only guy that dealt with this. Like, when I was a teenager, every girl I knew wanted to bang Shia LaBeouf. It's like the year Michael Cera was a sex symbol when Juno and Superbad came out. God, that was 2007. Don't ask me why. I can get Shia LaBeouf more than Michael Cera. Michael Cera actually banged Aubrey Plaza, lucky bastard. He was with her during, like, her peak time on Parks and Rec. But, like, Shia LaBeouf, man, women love this guy. Like, every girl I knew would just talk about how hot he was. I mean, he was legit, like, within a few months just to sex him. I'm like, what, Even Stevens' kid? Louis Stevens? He's a sex symbol now? I mean, I'm not gay, so I can't comment on the guy's looks, but I remember very much so that every girl I knew, just like every guy wanted Megan Fox, every girl wanted Shia LaBeouf. Like, it was a common phrase you heard all the time. Now, it's funny, that kind of went away. He's not really a sex symbol anymore. He's just kind of thought of as, like, this crazy guy that's sort of a joke and a meme. Has a beard, but he doesn't really look that different. But for some reason, young girls in the late 2000s were all wet for this guy. And I still have no idea why. Maybe it was holes. He was good with holes, so they thought about their own holes. Maybe that's what it was. Holes is great, though. I'll defend Holes forever. That's a great movie. God, Megan Fox looks like no high schooler ever. Like, the makeup she has on and the way she's dressed in her hairstyle. I've never seen a girl in high school look that way before. I guess everyone kind of has a over-saturated look to them in this movie. But even if she's doing, like, the horror face and the lips... Like, I've never seen a high school girl walk around that confidence. It's swag. And I know there's hot girls in high school, and I know there's girls with money, and I know there's pretty girls, and they wear a lot of makeup. But how she looks is just... It's jarring. Like, it doesn't feel real at all. It feels like you're looking at a magazine cover, not a real person. I liked Shia okay, but I found Mark Wahlberg to be better. Actually, I thought Mark Wahlberg was horrible in the fourth movie. That's great, because Mark Wahlberg is a much better actor and more interesting than anything going on the Shia, but unfortunately, I think Mark Wahlberg's terrible in the fourth film and not better. I liked Sam Witwicky better, and I hate Sam Witwicky. But I remember that was a jarring thing about the fourth movie, is how fucking awful. Mark Wahlberg's one of those guys where he can be really good in, like, Boogie Nights, or, like, The Departed, and then he can be awful. Hey, what's going on? I'm Mark Wahlberg. It's gonna be great and all that, and he's awful, and that's one of those movies where he's terrible. He's so bad, I mean, he just phones it in. Like, Shia LaBeouf, he's trying... He's not good in this movie, but he's trying. He's, like, legit trying to put effort in and give a good performance. He's given terrible material. Mark Wahlberg's just bad in Transformers 4. And once again, terrible material, but he's a more veteran actor. Oh, hi, Mark. He's just a better actor, and he should be able to do better with the movie. Gundam's much better than Transformers. Gundam all the way. I want a Mobile Suit Gundam movie. Amuro Ray. Oh God, Bernie Mac. May he not rest in peace. Oh no, they ruined Sam Witwicky in the sequels, I agree. I mean, not that he's lovable in this movie, but he gets worse. That, you know, there's definitely a low point as the series. He's really bad in the second one. So this is where Sam goes to get the car with his dad. You know, this was... I was not sexy for a long time. Not sure how these movie high schoolers are so on point. What would it be like if Zack Snyder did Transformers 4 and 5? It'd be better than a Michael Bay did it. I'll give him that. You know, this isn't a bad setup though in a screenplay, right? I mean, it's generic. It's him trying to be Spielberg and do E.T., but let's say the script is Sam Witwicky is a teenage kid, and he goes to get a car with his dad because he wants to get a girl, and he ends up getting a car that turns out to be the Transformer, and that's how Bumblebee ends up in his care and ends up going... That's not a bad setup. Really, it's not. In fact, I would argue this would be a better opening scene than the narration and the opening at the high school with the flashback and the opening. Honestly, you could cut all of that. It's just bloated for the sake of it. It's unnecessary. You could legit start this movie with Shia, Sam Witwicky, and his father driving to get a car, and it being like, Dad, I need a car. I need a car to impress girls and all that stuff. Kind of like the first Spider-Man movie. But start with that scene, and then they go to the car lot, they get a car. Little does Sam Witwicky know that there's a Transformers car. Now, this sets up a mystery. At this point, we wouldn't see the military base get attacked, and we wouldn't have the narration. We would just start with this kid as he goes home with the car, and then you do kind of a coming-of-age story. And slowly as the movie goes on, I can't believe I'm trying to rewrite an 11-year-old movie. Slowly as the film goes on, we realize it's a Transformer. And then Sam starts to talk to it. You keep the radio thing. That's probably one of the better ideas, is the communication through the radio. And then he's like, yo, where are you from? And then the Transformers start to show up, and then you kind of do that. Then you have the military base get attacked later into the movie. Then people are like, oh shit, something's going on. Meanwhile, Sam was the first one to make contact. I kind of don't like the idea that other people have made contact before Sam. I think it would be a better story and movie if Sam Witwicky was the first one to have any contact with the Transformers, violent or not. And I think it would just make a more interesting way to start things. It's a cool idea to have the Christina thing, like the car is alive, like the door opening there and all that. I think they could have done so much with that. See, a good director would have focused solely on the relationship between Sam Witwicky and Bumblebee. But a lot of people think that's what this film does. This film actually does way too many things. This film has the Megan Fox stuff. It's got the military stuff. It's got the hacker bullshit that's later on in the movie that's terrible. It's got way too many characters. It would be a better film if it was just about this boy and his pet robot, basically, and him kind of trying to keep it safe as the government wants it. Like right now, they just go to Washington, D.C. This kills the story momentum. Stay with Sam Witwicky in a small town. We do not need to go to generic military Washington scenes with John Voight as the president talking about mundane bullshit we've heard in 1,000 movies. Stay on the lead character and what's going on with him. Don't do this Roland Emmerich crap where you cut to everyone and then it's all supposed to come together. Also, once again, I hate this, like, hacker girl, even though, God, she's hotter than Megan Fox. Holy goddamn. I haven't seen this in a while. This blonde chick, the Australian chick, the hacker chick, oh my god. She should be the lead. Give this chick the movie. God, and then the black guy shows up later. Oh god, and he's the best hacker, but he, like, lives with his mom, and he's the best hacker. Okay, so they just leave the Washington, and now they're back with the military Josh Duhamel guys in the desert, and they're cutting back and forth. This is such bad storytelling. It's not bad necessarily cutting from a technical standpoint, but you're losing focus here. You should be focusing on a character and a theme and an idea and a relationship, but this movie is jumping around trying to be a generic crowd pleaser instead of telling a story, an intimate story. And that's a major mistake with these Transformers films. Michael Bay crams in everything and tries to make these films so big and have a little bit of everything instead of focusing on something simple, which is the boy in a relationship with his daughter. Or the second movie, Sam going to college. There's your idea. He goes to college. Make a lot of it a college film. But there's so much going on in Revenge of the Fallen. There's like 10 storylines. Dark of the Moon. Optimus versus his old mentor. But they keep jumping around so much they don't care about that. Hey, Pat, it's been too long. Hello, Mr. Pete. It's been too long, my friend. Jon Favreau would have done justice to the Transformers films. I mean, I think Jon Favreau would have been a better choice. That's for sure. See, and now we're back to Sam Witwicky. So we had this pointless stuff with the military. Oh god, is that a corgi? We had this pointless stuff, though, that doesn't add anything. That really doesn't add anything. That's just exposition. It would be a much... You don't need that bullshit extra exposition. Roland Emmerich is pronounced with a sh at the end and not a K. Roland Emmerich? Well, I'm not calling him that because I've never heard anyone call him that ever. I don't care if that's how his name's pronounced. I'm American. I'm not going to pronounce his name. My entire life, I've never heard anyone say Roland Emmerich. I don't know any reviewers ever called him that. Plus, Roland Emmerich sounds better than Roland Emmerich. That's actually pretty terrible. Even like Siskel and Ebert called him Roland Emmerich. That's weird. Everyone's just been pronouncing his name wrong for like 30 years. As much as I like this movie, it could have been a more focused film. Oh my god, damn, yes, it could have been a more focused film. You're absolutely right. Oh boy, here comes the parents. Oh god, are you actually watching the film with me, Madcap? That's amazing. Oh, the parents are terrible. Good actors. I really like the two actors who play as parents. They're just so poorly written. All the masturbation jokes and the sex stuff. It's just so cringe. And I remember people laughing in the theater when I saw this movie. It was like, no, don't let... God, so now we're cutting away again. We're with Sam in the car, and we're immediately cutting away again to the military. This film is already messy. That is how German names sound. Well, yeah, but that's... I've heard, you know, it's like Werner Herzog. I know a lot of people say Werner, although it kind of annoys me because it's supposed to be Werner, but, we don't do that here. We say people's names with a different pronunciation most of the time because we're really crappy about that. That's very common with Americans. You should hear us pronounce French names and French directors. Like we like Louis Malle, even though, you know, that's not a great way to pronounce his name, but that's how we pronounce it. We're pretty calm at that. That's so weird. Yeah, everyone always says Roland Emmerich. I've never heard of Emmerich ever. I mean, I believe you. That makes sense. I'm just saying I've never heard that. I remember Siskel and Ebert didn't say it. I've never heard a critic on YouTube say it. I've never heard anyone ever say his name that way. I guess it's because of the CH. People just think it's ick. Even French names. I mean, it's just a common American thing. It's like Akira. Akira's Akira. Akira. And it's not Akira. But most people say Akira instead of Akira. That's just one of those things people do here. Because of it's just different. Letters are different, and how we pronounce things is different. So that's what a lot of it is. I mean, it may be incorrect, but you know that's just part of you know different countries, different languages. Cian says they will do season 6 of Teen Titans. Oh yeah, this is a terrible scene. This is the scene with... It's not pronounced Michael Bay, it's pronounced Michael Ba. This is a terrible scene where they go to the like, party at the water, and that dude just climbs the tree. It's so fucking random. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, what is going on? They show up there, and this, like, asshole bully guy is just messing with Sam. Oh yeah, there's the football cutaway. Holy crap. But then his friend he brings with him just climbs up a goddamn tree. Oh my god, is that the dude from the Friday 13th remake? That is, isn't it? That's the asshole from the Friday 13th remake Michael Bay produced. He's in this. Holy crap, that guy's so good at playing a douchebag. I will give that guy that. So, yeah, this is when Sam Witwicky's character's whole character is just, I bumble a lot. I blah, 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 blah. He just says nonsense while the guy hangs upside down a tree. But that was always annoying me about Sam Witwicky. He just mumbles and says a bunch of nonsense. He doesn't really have a character. There's like an idea of a character, I guess, but they never really flesh it out. Like, this is who this guy is. This is what he cares about. He just kind of shows up in places, and although that was kind of Shia's whole thing, he did that in Disturbia, even though that's a better written movie, and he did that in other movies. I remember he would just talk no, and they would try to write it like he was funny and say cool stuff, and he would say nothing. Oh, and Megan Fox is walking off, and Shia gets the idea of, I'm gonna go pick her up in my car. So he kicks his friend out of the car, from what I remember. He does some hose before bros stuff here. You know, Michael Bay's trying to film her ass, but I'm noticing Michael Phelps doesn't have much of an ass. His tree climber friend's like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you kicking me out of the car? And he's like, listen, bro, I gotta try and go get laid. I'm gonna go up to this girl and just say a bunch of nonsense and mumble and say nothing, because that's what I do. So it's been established now. Maybe this is a character trait. Sam is a bad friend. God, these angles. Oh my god, she's walking and it's like a Dutch angle. It's so weird. This is bizarre. Michael Bay's framing is so fucking bizarre. People always praise this composition. I'm like, what? This is disastrous. This is terrible Every Frame of Painting did a great video on that. Where like every intimate moment feels huge. Michael Bay has no restraint. He makes every shot feel gigantic. So here's another good idea for a scene, right? So, and it's cliche, but whatever. Let's say the movie started with Sam going to the garage, and then we get some time with him in his house, and then he meets this girl that he kind of likes at school. You cut out the high school scene, and he gives her a ride home because she has a fight with their boyfriend, or something happens with their car. You could come up with multiple. Oh man, lens flare as fuck. And then he picks her up in the car, and they start talking. There's some story ingredients there, right? This would be the first 20 minutes of the movie or so. But here's the thing: we're 23 minutes in, and we already have like 4 different things going on. If you'd spent just that 20 minutes solely on Sam's character and establishing him in his life, it would just be a more pleasant film to watch. It would be easier to set through, even though it'd be a really generic film. God, their dialogue's terrible. I'm just remembering it now, looking at it. It's like she can't act at all, and he's trying to act, and they're not saying anything. They're just talking without saying anything, which I guess is what teenagers do. Maybe this is more accurate than I'm giving it credit for. Michael Bay or Zack Snyder? Zack Snyder's the best way to pronounce Zack Snyder's name out there. Really. Same with Schwarzenegger. He himself pronounces his name the American way when he is not in Germany or Austria. Yeah, he does do that. That's a good point. I never think about that. That's actually a really good point about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Roger Ebert gave Transformers 3 out of 4. A lot of critics gave this movie a good review. This film really didn't get bad reviews. So weird that Sam Witwer is more sane than Shia LaBeouf. That's a good point. He used to always come off crazy to me, Sam Witwer. Only one of the creators of TMT didn't care. God, she was such a bad April O'Neil. Oh, there's that famous shot where she's bent over the goddamn car with their stomach showing, and Michael Bay just closes his on it. That was like the most famous shot in the movie where he looks at it. It's funny, with all these special effects and all this action and all this stuff going on, the most famous shot of the movie is Megan Fox bent over at a car, because of course she can fix cars. She's a gear girl. She's a mechanic. She's beautiful, but she can do other things too. She's not just what she looks like. Don't buy into stereotypes, kids. God damn. I don't buy for a second this guy could get a girl like this at all. I'm sorry. I just don't. Wouldn't it be better if this had like a say anything kind of relationship, like Lloyd Dobler and Diane Court? Like, I just don't buy this. This is just, she seems like she would be banging like 10 different dudes and hanging out at mansion. She would not be hanging out with this guy in his car. And it's like, oh, it's because he has such a good personality and he's so funny and sweet. It's like, no, he's not. He has a terrible personality. He's kind of a douche. Like, he ain't got nothing going for him. Even his car's a piece of shit. So she goes to walk off, and then... Oh yeah, there's that emotional scene later. It's like, when you look back on this night, don't you want to say you got in the car? Michael Bay did that. You know, one thing I like conceptually about this film is that it's trying to be a teen film meets a blockbuster. That could have been interesting. Like a coming-of-age teen film meets a big-budget disaster, you know, special effects film. That could have been a nice mix. Which is probably why this is a better film than the other films, because the other films don't really have any focus, and they jump around, and they're kind of crazy, like the JFK stuff and Obama stuff in the third movie. But this film, at least the script, Kurtzman and Orky, they had an idea of what this film was genre-wise, that this isn't just an action movie. This isn't just a summer blockbuster. It's a teen film. It's a coming-of-age film. It's a boy and his robot film. It's the Iron Giant, if you will. And that's not a bad idea to make a Transformers film. That's probably the right way to go about it. Because you have to, people felt like you couldn't connect with the Transformers, so you have to have a human character at the center of it. The problem is Sam Witwicky's a terrible character, and the human characters are the worst part of these movies. Actually, Optimus Prime's the best character. God, we're back at the fucking Pentagon. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Every time they cut to this military stuff, it's terrible. Seriously, these are some of the worst scenes in the movie. I hate these scenes. I hate the hackers. I hate how they look like hipster douches. I hate the way the camera's constantly moving. Like, Michael Bay cannot hold a shot. Oh god, is this the George Bush scene? Oh my god, give me some of those ding-dongs, I think he says, when George Bush is in. That's such a weird scene. That was weird then. You just see, like, George Bush, you see his socks. And this is far from That's My Bush, Friends, which is a great show. He's all man, that's my Bush. Or is it That's Our Bush? I can't remember. I think it's That's My Bush. Trey Parker and Matt Stone sitcom. Yeah, they go into they're in Air Force One. Yeah, George Bush is laying there in the bed, and they show his socks. He goes, give me some of them ding-dongs. Oh my god. See, it's that Michael Bay shit there that's awful. That's not funny. It doesn't need to be in the movie. It makes the movie ridiculous. It takes away any intimacy. While this little, like, spider transformer sneaking around Air Force One. Now, don't be wrong. This isn't as bad as the future ones where, like, Steve Buscemi's, like, doing that terrible, like, over-the-top Italian character in the sequels. Because fuck that shit. I hate that crap. The little robots in the sequels is some of the worst shit. In this film, I remember thinking, like, Optimus and, like, God, who were all the Transformers in this? I can't remember their names off the top of my head right now, but they weren't that bad. Oh man, a ding-dong. That's a round ho-ho. But I remember in this film, some of these characters weren't Ironhide. Yeah, they weren't that bad. I mean, they didn't have any character like Starscream. I really like Starscream in the cartoon and the comics and all that. Oh god, she eats the ding-dong off the floor. What the fuck, Michael Bay? But Starscream is actually a really cool character in that he wants to overthrow Megatron, and they just have hints of that in this movie. It's like, we'll talk about this later, Starscream. And they don't follow up anything. They just give you little things if you're a Transformers fan. But the cool thing about the cartoon was that Starscream was always trying to fuck Megatron over. And he would take over at points. In some of the better shows, Starscream would take over as the villain. And they try to hint at that history here, but because we don't know the Decepticons or the Transformers, none of that stuff gets fleshed out. It's just hints of these ideas. The Decepticons get nothing in this movie. Really, the only characters that get any Transformers that get anything is Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. They're like the two characters that get a little bit of rounded characters. And God, what's his name? Crap! God, he's the Toonami. Toonami. Peter something. Peter. God, what's his fucking name? I love the guy. He's Optimus Prime, man. What's his damn name? I think it's Peter. Or something. Is his name? Peter Cullen. That's right, Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen gives the best performance in this movie. And it's just a vocal performance, but he's actually the best part of it. Remember when Bay wanted Ninja Turtles rebooted as Aliens, Pat? I do remember that. I remember that very well. The Bush short is so awkward. Yeah, it is. It's very awkward. It's something you cut out of a movie like this. No, Starscream's awesome. Yeah, Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen's awesome. He's great. I know Hugo Weaving did the voice for Megatron because the guy who voices Freddy from Scooby-Doo, I think he's the voice of Megatron, isn't he? Fred something. I think that's who it is. It's the guy who actually does the voice of Freddy from Scooby-Doo. He actually still does the voice, I think. Frank Weckler. Yeah. Yeah, he's great. He's one of my favorite voice actors of all time. He's really amazing, but I know he didn't get to do the voice in this because he had throat issues and he couldn't do the voice anymore. Oh yeah, Orson Welles. Yeah, he was in the animated movie. Yeah, that's pretty fun. But Frank Welker and Peter Cullen are both great. They were great with the voices of the Transformers, but both terrific, just have really great careers. And no, Hugo Weaving wasn't bad. I actually wish there was more Megatron in this movie. One of my issues with this movie is how little there is of the villains. You never really get a sense of the villains. Megatron shows up like super late in the movie. Remember that power level bullshit? Like, in this movie, Optimus has moments where he's OP, and then Megatron just kicks his ass. He's like, Sam, if I fail, put the destroy the cube in me. And then, here's the thing. Optimus immediately gets his ass kicked. He's like, one shall stand, one shall fall, Megatron. I'm having a hard time doing the Optimus voice in my throat. He says that, and then Megatron throws around and kicks his ass. They don't actually have a fight. It's not like that awesome fight from the 80s movie. Which, by the way, that film kicks ass. You've got the touch. You've got the power. That movie's so good. Dare to believe that you will survive. James Rolfe did a great video on that. But in this movie, yeah, there's that bullshit where Optimus just gets his ass kicked. Then somehow, in Transformers 2, the forest scene, Optimus is able to fight Megatron and like 3 other Decepticons and kill like 2 of them. What the fuck? They don't explain this. Then in the 3rd movie, Optimus is stronger and then gets weak again. And then he has rocket boots. And like the power levels, Michael Bay didn't give a shit. He couldn't give us that awesome Optimus Megatron fight in this movie. Optimus goes from like a badass to a total bitch in this movie. I remember that pissing me off back in the day when I saw this movie in the theater. Because they hyped up the fight the whole movie. Like that they were going to fight and they were equals. And then Optimus just gets his ass kicked. Optimus scene was in a populated area so he could not find people. That's bullshit, dude. That's so bullshit. That's like a bullshit excuse. There's almost nobody around when Optimus and Megatron are fighting in the city at the end of this movie. It's just Sam, and Megatron's gonna kill people. And Optimus doesn't do anything. He just gets thrown around. Like, he hardly uses his guns or anything, or like runs into Megatron. I don't buy that that's the logic, is that it's a populated area. In fact, Optimus never even really brings that up. And there was a populated area where he kills Demolisher earlier. Like, when he kills the guy with the cars and stuff and they're on the highway, that's a populated area. Optimus didn't seem to be holding back then. When he pulls the sword out and cuts the guy and they fall right on, they almost fall on that woman and her kid. So I don't know if I buy that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's just inconsistent power levels. Which was a common thing with these films with the Transformers just flip-flop. Megatron's power levels change depending on the scene. It's never consistent. Oh god, yeah. Okay, so the car, I gotta get back to the movie. The car just left Bumblebee, and Sam thinks his car gets stolen. He calls the cops. He runs to go find Bumblebee, and there's some dogs, and the dogs are able to pull their collars out of brick? How fucking strong are these dogs? They pulled their leashes out of bricks? Holy damn. I mean, that would have been a good idea, Madcap. Like, you're a better writer than the guys who wrote this movie. That would have been a good idea. Like, if Optimus had said, the area is populated, I can't fight. And he held back, that would be a good idea for the movie. But Michael Bay doesn't think about those things. Like, if Optimus had been holding back this whole movie, that'd be cool. But unfortunately, we see scenes where he's not holding back. Oh my god, so Sam gets taken by the cops, and we're back with the military shit in Washington. Man, this movie really could be shorter. Yeah, no, remember when the girl's a Terminator in the second movie? Pat, which is better, The Last Jedi or this? This. Even though The Last Jedi is a better looking movie and has better, like, acting technically and all that, it's probably a worse written film because this film knows what it is. And it's really not trying to subvert expectations. It's not trying to be clever or meta. It's not a complete failure from a thematic standpoint. This film's really just an action movie. That's all it is. It's just too long. I agree with you there. He definitely saved more people than Superman. That's true. You will be the next Please Rewind. Good luck, fellow small YouTuber. That's not much to look up to. The next Please Rewind, I'm watching fucking Transformers on a Saturday. So there's not much to live up to here, man. Oh my god, we're only 38 minutes in. I'm gonna kill myself before this is over. You could cut so much out of this movie and help the pacing. This isn't even a badly paced film. It's just about 20 minutes too long. You need to cut some of this military stuff, and you need to cut some of the stuff with well, there's two military things going on. There's the hacker Washington plot, and then there's the military guys out in the desert. You need to cut that shit down. Focus on Sam Witwicky's story. And you'd have a movie that's about 2 hours long. Let's say 115 minutes. But instead, you have a movie that's 2 hours and 25 minutes. And it just goes on and on and on. So now Sam's talking to the cops. And the cop asks him if he's on drugs. I remember this. And then the cop acts crazy. And then Sam asks the cop if he's on drugs. Which I guess they think's really funny. It's funny because the cop is the one acting crazy, not Sam Witwicky. God, this is just that Michael Bay humor. It's like just frat boy crap humor. That's the worst part of Michael Bay movie, excluding Armageddon's first half and some of Bad Boys. The comedy is so terrible. No, he's like showing Shia his gun. He's like, "You looking at my piece, bro? You want to grab it? You want to grab my piece, bro?" Is this some kind of like phallic dick imagery stuff like this? Sam is emasculated and he wants to grab the cop's dick. Yeah, are you on drugs? Oh my god. Now we're back in the Middle East. We're back with the with less than 5 minutes. We've cut to 3 different locations. Michael Bay cannot stay in one location. Like, pick a movie. Is this movie about these military guys? Is this movie about hackers and trying to figure out the Transformers language, or is it about Sam Witwicky? Pick one. Any one would be fine. Just pick a movie. It's an ensemble film, or is it a relationship film? Nope, it's all of them, because it's an epic. It's an epic masterwork. So this is when, like, the Scorpion former shows up to fight all the military guys, and they're in the desert, and it keeps taking this in. This looks pretty cool. Once again, this isn't a bad idea. You're not showing much of the Transformer. Kind of like the opening scene on the base. You're showing it, a lot of it hidden. Well, not so much there. But that's a cool idea. Like, it kind of, like, digging under the ground and taking them out. That's what this movie should have had more of. That's what the whole series should have had more of. Is you have the Transformer use the location. Less so than you have, you just have a bunch of wide shots of Transformers flying around and fighting with quick cutting. It's better to have the Transformer, kind of be hidden. Oh god, yeah, this scene where they go to the place where, like, the fucking, like, what's it, like, Al-Qaeda or some shit? Like, I can't remember. It's crazy. And they all start fighting the Transformer. Why is this thing hunting these guys and trying to kill them? Like, what's the point? Do they have something? Like, wouldn't this Transformer be better used somewhere else? Why is it going to, like, why is it following these, like, few military guys to kill them? That seems like a pretty big waste of time from for a Transformer to be doing like that. Like, what's his mission? Hey, kill these 5 dudes. We need them taken out. They're too important. Imagine this was a better movie if these guys had, like, some piece of information. Like, they had something that the Decepticons really needed, and that was part of it. But, oh, of course, he calls, and then there's a guy on the line who's like, "Oh, hello. B for Bob? A for Apple?" Because there's got to be comedy. This can't be a serious action scene where they're fighting this thing and it's intense. It has to be funny. You got to make the kids laugh. Michael Bay, you comedy genius, you. This is goddamn hilarious. This was before Marvel ruined comedy in action movies and blockbusters. Oh my god. The scene's just going on and on and on. The scene's been going on for like almost 5 minutes. I can't deal. Oh, now Michael Bay's bringing the worlds together. We're having the military guys and the Washington people being communicated now. And then eventually everyone comes together. Sam joins up with them. Everyone comes together at the end. It's great writing. You set up these different pieces and then they all come together in the 3rd act. There's actually one line I think's funny when I think Shia LaBeouf says it like, When they're in the helicopter, he's like, my car turned into a robot or something. That actually kind of feels like a nice moment of levity. Like, it's a nice little moment. It isn't all just over the top cringe humor. Thank you, Pete. You're great too. Yeah, 90 minutes. Yeah, this film could be much, much shorter. No question. I want a World War II transform. You did get that, and one of them, they're fighting the Nazis, remember? And like was it the third movie or the fourth movie? They're fighting the Nazis. It's ridiculous. What do you think of Ralph the Movie Maker's rants on Transformers 2? That's what everyone else says. There's really nothing about Transformers rants that no one hasn't said about all of the movies. They were already said when the films came out. Scorponok is hunting the survivors so Tyrese, who took the shot of the blackout, doesn't expose them to the military. Really? Well, he failed pretty badly because now they're exposed to the military and they're sending jets in. You know, I wish some of this stuff was better explained or like organized. Like, you're coming up with, you know, things, but it's like it doesn't really get well conveyed in the film. It just comes across as they're randomly being chased by this thing. It doesn't really come across as like he's hunting them down for a very specific reason. Like, that's so cheap. Like, oh, they survived, so I have to go hunt them down, and then we have to spend like, God, the scene's still going on. I mean, it's almost 8 minutes long. That's absolutely crazy. What is Michael Bay's fetish with revising history to ensure transfer? I don't know. King Arthur, fucking, yeah, the moon landing, transfer. I mean, it's crazy. Like, he just, I don't know why. I guess he thinks that shit's clever? I'm not sure. I think about that a lot, like why Michael Bay did that stuff. It's very weird. Pearl Harbor. He's just obsessed with the history of it all, I guess. Oh my god, the scene is still going on. It never ends. This is the scene that never ends. Finally, the Scorponok went back in the ground. Oh my god. God, this isn't even, like, well shot. I remember thinking this movie looked better than it does. This really doesn't look that great. Like, I really hate the filter, the lens, like, the colors, the whatever gels they might have used. Like, I really do not like how a lot of this looks. It looks like way too... I mean, not that they're bad shots, like the helicopter coming in and then waving their arms. Those aren't bad shots. It's just there's something kind of, like, so generic about them, and they're, like, drawing attention to themselves. Like, they're pretty, and they want you to notice how pretty and beautiful they are. They're not just an organic shot within the scene. It's beautiful shots without any substance. But then some of the stuff with the hackers looks so bland. Like the lighting and them sitting by the computer and all that. None of this looks good at all. Oh god, I hate when she goes to the, what's the guy's, Anthony something, the Blackish guy. Those, Blackish is the show he's on. Funny guy, but she goes to his house and somehow he's the best hacker that can figure out the language, decode the language. So they have all these people who work at Washington, D.C., but it's this guy who lives with his mother. He's a genius. He lives with his mom and he plays video games. His brother's playing DDR. And he's the genius. He's the genius we need. It's like, so none of those characters, none of them are the top people. It's this guy. Because we need a funny black side character to come into the movie. Man, they're introducing a new character 45 minutes in. Holy goddamn. What movie does that? Why would you introduce a new character 45 minutes in? That's insane. You already have 3 storylines going on. Now this story, she leaves and it becomes a separate story with his character. That's insane. Michael Bay's like, I don't care, I'm gonna introduce a new character 45 minutes in. And for about 10 minutes now, we've got no Sam Witwicky. We are not focusing on our main character, Anthony Anderson, that's right. Oh god, Kangaroo Jack. Oh my god. My favorite line of the black hacker is, shut up, Grandma. Yeah. Yeah, Anthony Anderson, he puts the glasses on, so now he's smart. It's that Curb Your Enthusiasm joke when black people wear glasses, they're more serious and intelligent. Like, before that, he's a bumbling idiot. Shut up, Grandma. And then he puts on the glasses. Then he's like, oh, let me do this now. I'm all intelligent now because I have glasses on. Only smart people wear glasses. Like, holy crap. Oh, and then the FBI raids the house. Yeah, because you do. Oh, God, the guy goes out the window and goes to the. Oh, my God. What is the point of this? We don't need this. We do not need the brother getting tackled in the pool, Michael Bay. This is shit you cut. This is shit you cut out of the movie. So your movie has flow. Now we're back to Sam Witwicky. Holy damn it. Yeah, about 10 minutes without the main character in the movie. We don't even know this guy. So far we saw him at high school. We saw him get the car. We saw him go meet the girl with his chihuahua hanging out there with this little cast on. And then he chases his car. And we're almost an hour into the movie. That's all we've gotten so far. Oh, God. He's got that douchey friend who's washing the dog now. God, I hate this guy. Oh, he takes his sister's bike. It's a pink bike and the car's chasing him. That's supposed to be fun. At least that's actually a better joke than some of the dialogue. Like him riding the girl's bike. They're actually... That's not so bad. I'll give that one a pass. Is he wearing a Strokes t-shirt? I remember that being in Disturbia, too. Let me see if it's the Strokes. It's the Strokes. Holy crap. Julian Casablancas. I mean, I really like the Strokes, but it's like, what the fuck? I guess Shia did that Cusack. I want to have the remote shirt. I want to wear the Strokes shirt. Last night, she said... Someday... I remember the Strokes were everywhere. They were huge. Oh, man, the cop car's chasing him. It's a Transformer cop car. And Bumblebee knows what's going on. This is the Terminator 2 moment of the movie, where Sam Witwicky, aka John Connor, thinks that the Terminator's trying to kill him, and it turns out there's a good Terminator and a bad Terminator that Sam isn't aware of yet. And I guess as an audience, we're supposed to be surprised by this, I suppose, and it works much better in Terminator 2. But in this movie, it's like, oh, the cop isn't your friend. That's the evil Terminator. Holy crap, I didn't realize how Terminator 2 this was with the fucking cop. Wait, so the Transformer, like, possessed the police officer? What the hell? What kind of powers do they have? They could take over people's bodies? That's a little weird. Why didn't he just kick the cop out and take the car? Run him over! Run him over! What are you doing? This is the no. Just run him over. Get it over with. Stop cock teasing. I don't like the teasing, mofo. God, it's so weird. Michael Bay's ripping off everything. He's like, alright, I'm gonna rip off E.T. Even right there, that little eye twitching, that's Flight of the Navigator, damn it. Okay, so I have to assume when that Transformer transformed, he just killed that police officer. I think that's just what happened. I think he just turned into the, well, I didn't do this commentary to be like, suck this movie off. Oh, it's a hologram? Okay. That's right, it's a hologram. Wouldn't it be better if he did kill? Wouldn't it be better if he just killed the cop in his body? That would be so funny. I forgot the hologram scene. I was talking to you guys and I didn't notice that part because I wasn't watching. I've been looking at the chat, so I'm kind of missing things like that. I missed the part. I remember that now that you guys said it, that he turns into a hologram, but I didn't see that scene in this viewing. Oh, she's on a Vespa. There's the Fully Cooley. Imagine if someone tried to make E.T. with a Michael Bay script. They did. It was called Transformers. That's what this movie's trying to be. I just want the cop to get, like, destroyed in the Transformer's body now, like body horror. Oh, yeah, no, in the second film, there is just a Transformer girl that tries to bang Sam. It's so weird. It's like, what, they're Terminators? Like, what happened to the rules? I thought they were vehicles. Oh, here's that awesome action shot with the fucking Camaro, and then behind him's the cop car. It's like, oh, the camera's moving so fast! The Strokes. Maybe the Strokes represents that Michael Bay's stroking himself during this whole movie. Maybe there's some subtext I'm not picking up on here. The car's driving itself. Oh, the action. Oh, he wrecks through the window. Oh, The glass, the stained glass. Oh, yeah. Car chases. Oh, that quick camera work. Michael Bay's like, oh, this movie's gonna make $700 million. I did it. I made the hologram guy. And now it's randomly nighttime. We did a time jump. Which I guess I'll excuse, but bit weird. Oh, Bumblebee locks them in. Now he's gonna transform and destroy their bodies. This is my favorite scene when he transforms and kills both Sam and Vanessa or whatever her name is. I can't remember the Megan Fox's name in this. Oh boy. Car's back in. Oh, Bumblebee's driving. Oh, he just hit in the corner. This is like Drive. Take that, Refn. Michael Bay did it first. Bumblebee kicks him out. Oh yeah, this is when we're supposed to see our Transformer fight, and then Michael Bay just cuts away. He does that Gareth Edwards Godzilla thing. Where it's like, are you ready for an awesome fight scene between these two Transformers? You've been watching this movie now for 53 minutes. Here we go. And then we don't really get to see it. We get some close-ups, and we focus on Sam and her. And they kind of like fight in the background. God, that was so shitty in that Godzilla movie. Just all the action went on in the background while Aaron Taylor, no charisma, ran around after Bryan Cranston dies in the first 15 minutes and we lose all emotional connection. God, the close-ups. Jesus Christ, Michael Bay. Do a wide shot here. This is chaotic as fuck. Oh yeah, and the little guy goes after them. That's right. Yep, because that's what I want to see. I want to see the two of them running and getting chased by this little... Oh, he gets his pants pulled off. He's wearing boxers that are funny. Yeah, I want to see that instead of seeing the two Transformers go at it in, like, beautiful wide shots. I want to see this little termite chase them. Oh, but she's going to get weapons because she's a badass and knows what's up. That's what she does, because that's who she is. She's not what you think she is. She's not just a pretty girl. She's tough. Don't forget how tough she is. Oh my god, we're spending the whole Transformers fight with Sam Witwicky and this robot, this little guy. There's nothing with Bumblebee, barely. Oh yeah, she's got it. She's beating the crap. Well, it's turning like a slasher movie. It's like a horror movie scene. She just killed the hell out of this guy. It's brutal. And she's holding it over her shoulder. Oh my god. Hey, can we see Bumblebee fight that Decepticon? Can we get some action? I'd like to see that. I mean, it's not like this movie cost $150 million, and I'd like to see the special effects. And the fight's over, off camera. And Bumblebee's walking towards Sam and her. And we didn't get to see what happened. Good directing. It's okay to not show the Transformers and what's happening in scenes where they're like attacking, but during a fight scene where this is supposed to be the big moment where we see the Transformers fight, that's kind of the moment you need to see, Michael Bay. You sort of save that till the third act, and I get you holding all your cards on the table until the third act where you want to throw in the action, but what's the point? I love that Sam and Bumblebee become best friends and it's not earned at all. It's one of the biggest flaws with this movie is that there's this unearned emotional arc between Sam and Bumblebee. Like at the end of the movie where Bumblebee's like, I want to stay with the boy. It's like, why? You guys barely hung out. Like you have a few scenes together and you don't get along, you don't have chemistry. This scene where Bumblebee's getting taken and Sam's like, no, Bumblebee, and they have no established relationship. It's just his car. And the radio thing, that's where he talks to him as a radio. Like, it's so forced, it's never developed. It should be the movie. The movie should be Bumblebee and Sam becoming friends. Then it would be emotional at the end where Bumblebee says, I want to stay with the boy. But instead, it's like, why? Why don't you want to go with Optimus and do what's right? Why do you want to stay with Sam? That was one of the biggest, and people bought this shit when this movie came out. People loved this movie. It was a huge hit. Everyone was like in love with it. And oh yeah, we see the aftermath of the fight. And they bought into that relationship. They bought into Bumblebee and Sam Witwicky. Even though there's really no scenes of substance between them or where they like communicate. Like, what'd you ever see where Sam's sitting on the hood of the car at home and he's talking about his life and stuff? And he's talking to Bumblebee and all that. And he's like, maybe you don't understand what I mean, but I don't have anyone else to talk to. You know, stuff like that, like scenes where they bond at the house and all that, and they're starting to get along. That should be the first. That's what the first hour should have been. We're an hour into the movie, and he's hardly had any scenes with Bumblebee. That should be the scenes like, hey, like we're friends, and I can't tell anyone about you, and you're my secret. And he goes off with Bumblebee at night, and they drive around and have fun. And Bumblebee's trying to help him get the girl more and stuff like that. But Bumblebee just randomly likes Sam and tries to help him. And you don't know why. Like, isn't he on a mission? Why does his mission involve bringing these two people in that could die? They could both get killed. And Bumblebee is being so careless about this, and why? I don't understand Bumblebee's motivations for any of this. I get if he wanted to bang Megan Fox himself. Now she's sitting in his lap. Oh, is this where he scans the new car? Because coincidentally, a new Camaro just drives by at the exact time that they're going through the tunnel. Ah, contrived writing. Why not, though? That's Orky and Kurtzman. Oh, Bumblebee scanned a new car. Now he's a new Bumblebee. Now I'm the new car. Wait, what happened to the driver? Where's the driver of that car? Did I miss something? I just saw Bumblebee drive by and scan that car and take it over, and then the car pull up, and the guy who was driving it's no longer in the car. Did I miss something? This is fucking weird. What the damn it? I don't know what just happened. Yo, Beast Wars is awesome. I got my first car this week, Pat. Road trip to Columbus. Yeah, you should, man. I mean, I got my apartment now. I'm not moved in, but I got the apartment. We signed the lease. I'm very happy. Very happy. Yeah, what was the deal with that? Why did they cut away from the fight like that? I don't know. I don't know why they don't show the fight. Oh, hi, Bathory. Oh, hi, Bathory. I'm so glad you made it after we're already, what? An hour and 10 minutes into this disaster. Oh, and this is where, man, it's over an hour before the other Transformers show up. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Man, I gotta say, this movie does not hold up very well. It feels very 2007. It's like Die Hard 4, this. I remember this year of specifically going to see movies and being like, man, Die Hard 4 had so much action, it's awesome. And then you go watch it now and you're like, oh, this is okay. And then like this movie, oh, all the action scenes and the special effects there, like, oh. It's weird that few years, like 2005 through 8, there's a feeling to the movies, the way the lighting is, the way the humor is. Even Iron Man falls in that category. Iron Man feels like these movies. It's just better written and acted with Downey Jr., but it looks like a movie from the like late 2000s. Like, it's weird that how true that is. Like, the early 2000s has an aesthetic, and then the mid-late 2000s has an aesthetic here where there was something with the tone and the lighting and the way action was done. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I remember very specific, like the way this film looked is how Dyer looks and like Iron Man looked, and how films kind of just looked back then, and the sound design and all that, and how CGI was being used. Because it changes about every 5 years or so. Aesthetics change. And soundtracks and the way people edit things and all that changes like every 5-8 years or so. Pat, you live in Ohio now? I'm going to live in Ohio. I'm not living there currently, but I'm moving there in a couple weeks. I'll be living in Columbus, yes. First car. I didn't know that Pat appealed to children. Oh, shut up. That's hilarious. Here's my suggestion. You do a live commentary of Zack Snyder's Watchmen. That's a good idea. I think Watchmen was actually one of the first ones I suggested on Twitter, was that I was going to watch Watchmen. That was actually my original idea, was I was going to watch... I don't know where I got the idea to watch Transformers. I know that Watchmen was the original one I wanted to do months ago when I thought about doing commentaries. Yeah, there was something about just the color of these films then, and the way that there was a lot of, like, saturation, and the way that, they had a lot of lighting. They had this, like... The way the overhead lights look in this and the lights coming through, it's how movies looked in these years. This is when I was like 16, 17, 18, and I went to the theater every weekend. And I remember movies all looking this way. And there was kind of like this gloss over everything. You know, because we were kind of like out of the MTV era, and we were kind of we were kind of going into something different, and CGI was starting to look more consistent. Yeah, there's that scene where Optimus transforms in front of them. That's a pretty cool scene. You know, it's the first time we meet Optimus. It's not a bad introduction. I mean, for a scene in this movie, this isn't so bad. Once again, though, way too many, like, different parts to the Transformers. Like, man, that blocky, simple thing that worked in the cartoons and the toys, it works. Like, there's a reason there's kind of, like, a roundness to, well, it's square, but there's a reason that it's all kind of, like, blocks instead of, like, showing every little tiny detail the way they do. It doesn't work as well. Like, Optimus looks less cool that way than just being, like, if it was more simple. They over-design these Transformers. That was something that always hurt me with the design, is that it's too much. And it's weird, because normally you want more detail and all that, but with this film, it's like, no, it's just a little bit too much. It would benefit so much more if you had it more rounded off and not, like... It's almost kind of gross. Oh, yeah, Jazz, the black one, he break dances. There's that scene later with Megatron, I remember, it's so funny. He's like, you want a piece of me? I want two! And he rips him in half. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. It's so bad. But, you know, I'll give it that these at least have somewhat of character, and they're not just, like, samurais with swords. I remember that weird shit in the sequels where there's, like, samurai Transformers, and, like, it's strange. Like, John Goodman's Transformer, the third one, has a beard and smokes cigars. It's like, what the fuck? How do they smoke cigars? How does he have a beard? What the hell is with the beard? And they get these, like, really good actors like Ken Watanabe, and they don't do anything. That always kind of upset me, too, they didn't carry these characters over too well. Like, I know Ironhide and, like, that, but, like... They never really consistently kept these original group together throughout the series, which I think would have benefited the sequels. We get introduced to new Transformers, new Autobots every movie, and it's just kind of ridiculous. Man, you know, out of this era with this aesthetic, I gotta say Iron Man's probably aged the best. So when I go back and watch Iron Man 1, it has CGI like this. Now, The Dark Knight doesn't look this way. That was what was kind of so great about The Dark Knight, is Wally Pfister's photography and the set design. No, it didn't look like a film from this era. But Iron Man kind of, you know, it has the CGI. It's got the gloss. It's got the kind of the tone. But that script and Downey Jr.'s performance has aged really well. That still holds up, even if some of the aesthetics are a little dated and feel a little bit of their time. So we're getting backstory that we don't need, that connects Sam's relatives to the Transformers, because for some reason Michael Bay can't just settle on the Transformers being here currently. He always has to explain that the Transformers have been here for thousands of years. He has to go back further and further and further. Why don't you make a live commentary of the movie? It's actually worth being watched and talked about. I haven't seen one Transformers movie, and I don't even know why I'm here. Cause I thought this would be funny. I don't know, I thought it'd be entertaining. I didn't want to have to try to, you know, really break down things and all that. It's more of just being like, and it was kind of going back to the past, because this was a very big movie when it came out, and I remember being there at that time. It was kind of me going back to being 17 when this came out was a big reason I wanted to do it. There's a bit of nostalgia here, at least for my life, that not necessarily this movie, which the sequels don't have. I just kind of hate the sequels, but going back to my youth is kind of... oh, Megatron. Wait, the only car tube that makes smoke is the exhaust port. Was John Goodman smoking a Transformer butthole? That's a very good question. What if Travis Bickle's taxi was a Transformer? Well, I think the final sequence where he goes to shoot up the pimp and everything would be a lot easier for him. They had to make Transformers fit with the real-world vehicles. They transform in parts. I mean, they didn't have to do that. That's just what they decided to do. It doesn't look that great. Like, it's kind of a movie that doesn't have any realism to it in any aspect. It's like a very over-the-top movie. Like, one thing that's so appealing about Iron Man's first suit, which I think's kind of been ruined with some of the other ones, is just how solid it is. Like, it's just a solid red with some yellow. Like, the minimalism in the design is one of the qualities of it. And the Terminator design is kind of intricate and looks cool, but it looks more scary. Like, I think the Decepticons look good in that way, but Optimus and them looking that way, they just look a little too scary. There's kind of like, outside of Bumblebee, there's kind of this lack of friendliness that's going around that would, I think, would help the movie. Remember, I was thinking about Wakanda. I was like, isn't that Dan Aykroyd? Isn't that what Ray went to school? Was Wakanda Camp Wakanda, where the Stay Puft, because it was Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. This is a terrible scene with Anthony Anderson where he's like, they put the donuts here to make us feel guilty. I'm gonna eat all the donuts, and then they come in to interrogate him, and he's like, well, just act cool. And she's like, okay. And then he's like, she did it. She did everything. It's not about, like, oh, that's so funny. Because they have a setup here with the donuts and him eating it, and that's not that bad. And he's like, it's actually even kind of cute. He's like, I'm going to eat all the donuts, and I'm going to act cool. And then you're like, where's the scene going? And then they come in, and he doesn't hold up. And it's like, oh, it's just a cheap joke. Like, once again, this is unnecessary. You don't need this scene in the movie. This is just filler. This just adds length. These are two characters we don't care about. They're taking away from the main story. You just don't need it. And the scene really is ultimately kind of pointless. Like, you could get this done in a minute of dialogue, 30 seconds, that they join up with Washington instead. We need the scene for the jokes. And we need generic hot girl with the neck tattoo to explain to them what's going on. Oh my god, there's still an hour and a half left. Did you see Lindsay Ellis, the whole plate, the multi-part analysis of Base Transformer? No, I haven't watched that. I mean, I know Lindsay Ellis, but I haven't watched that. Greatest aspect of Iron Man is how the suit evolves with new CGI tech, but they wove it into the story so well, making it look like Tony had just created new tech. Oh yeah, no, the Terminator coming out of the fire has way more impact. Because there's only one! It's one scene at the end of the movie. James Cameron doesn't blow his wad with too much. And he didn't have much. He had limitations. That's why it's arguably his best film, is because he had such a low budget. So it has all that great James Cameron stuff, the action, the aesthetics, the tone, you know, his great storytelling ability. But it's all on this low scale, like a John Carpenter movie from that time or something. It kind of very Escape from New York-ish in how it looks. And but it's got these big epic moments. You're like, how do you pull this off for $6 million? And the Terminator coming out of the fire is this amazing moment because the movie builds up to, and it feels huge, and the universe feels huge because everything's so restrained. Where this movie really lacks restraint, not only in the special effects and the action and all that, it lacks it in characterization and story beats. It shouldn't. There's so much talking in this movie, and it's nonsensical talking. It's so many characters in this just babbling, like Sam with his father right now while the Transformers are in the background. This isn't a bad idea for a scene, right? Sam has to keep the Transformers quiet while he doesn't want his parents to know. But like, there's just so much talk. It's just nonsense. It's just trying to get laughs. It feels like improv. It feels like Michael Bay just let like Shia LaBeouf improv and the actors, and they're not good at improvising. And he's like, just talk a lot and talk really fast. It'll be funny. People think it's great. Oh, the dog's peeing on the Transformer. That's hilarious. I would ask which movie the Transformers were talking about. This is the first one. We're watching the original Bayformers from 2007, people. If you must know. Although, who gives a shit? Really. It's all just blurred together into a half-remembered dream. A mess of sorts. Yep, he's pointing the guns at the Chihuahua. That's what we all wanted to see in a Transformers movie. I would still watch this over Man of Steel any day of the week. I probably would too. I fucking hate Man of Steel. That last 45 minutes is terrible. I'm just, you know, this movie just isn't a movie you can watch a lot. I've seen this movie a few times. You know, it was kind of a product of its time. It was a blockbuster of 2007. It just doesn't hold up like a decade later. It's not one of those films. You know, it's not a classic. Cameron used to work with Carpenter. James made Mattei paintings. Is Mattei, I think, for Escape? I know he did the paintings for Escape from New York. It's pretty cool. Just say funny things. I guess I know who Paul Feig learned from. It does feel that way. It's got that like really lazy comedy director thing. Like, you guys just yap on and that'll create something. We don't really need characters and dialogue that's funny and interesting or drama. There's a lack of drama in this movie. Like, give it some weight. Give it some gravitas. It's all just like bumbling dialogue. Oh no, Man of Steel's just bad all around. Okay, so this is probably one of the better parts of the movie, even though it's still kind of terrible. But the scene with the Transformers in the yard, Sam taking her to his house, the parents and all that. I don't like the dialogue, but this isn't necessarily like a bad sequence on its own. It's just it's poorly written and performed. But the idea of him sneaking in with her to get stuff, all the parents are there and all that, you know, that's not totally terrible. It's just, you know, once again, it's all delivery and Michael Bay's humor. Like, imagine if this was a funny script with funny dialogue. You know, then the scene would go down a lot better. If this was, you know, if this had funny one-liners and was well written. If it was more like a Marvel movie. You know, if James Gunn had wrote this or something like that. No, Optimus being outside talking to him. But this is kind of the cool thing, the mix of suburbia with the Transformers. I could have gotten into this. I actually wish the movie would have had more of this. In fact, maybe even the Transformers in the end fighting not being in the city, being all generic, but actually them fighting in the neighborhood. It's cool to see Transformers by like suburban houses and stuff like that. That's something that could have been really cool, and they blend in with the environment and all that. I could have gotten into that, but oh god, yeah, the dad hides under the table because he thinks it's an earthquake. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. They just make the Transformers like bumbling idiots. They're just like tripping on themselves. It's just really like crappy slapstick comedy. Like, you could do something, like, it's okay to have jokes with the Transformers, but like, make the situation funny and then have the Transformers like in there. They're not supposed to be. Like, this idea like they shouldn't be here, that can be funny, but like, he just has them like, oh, I'm tripping. Oh, I ran into this thing because I'm so stupid. Like, they're not aware of their environment at all. That's so cheap. It's just to make little kids laugh. But it's a kids movie. It's like, not really. It's just a film kids can watch. I would not call this a children's film. You know, like Aladdin's a children's film, but this is just a generic PG-13 movie. Oh god, this would be like, you have a girl in your bedroom. She's gorgeous. And they're like, yeah, you can stay in a room. It's like, wait, what parent just lets, like, their kid have the girl or guy over? Like, I remember being a teenager, it wasn't that easy. From what I remember. You had to sneak around. You didn't get to just, like, have a girl in your room. Parents like, fuck her, son. I respect this. I mean, that's how parents should be, probably, but I don't think that's how all parents react. Especially these are supposed to be, like, I don't know, I don't really buy their characters being that way. They're very weird characters. God, I hate his parents. Once again, like the actors, they're good actors, just... Oh, now I know where Sam gets his bumbling nonsense from. It's from his parents. They're doing the same thing. She's like, are you masturbating? Are you masturbating, son? Are you whacking it? Oh, the Transformers are poking their heads around the corner. Oh, don't get caught, guys. Now the dad's hiding in the bathtub. The comedy hijinks just keep stacking on top of each other. How do they do it? Oh, Orky and Kurtzman. You guys are so clever. This is truly the sign of the great screenwriters they are. They're the writers of the Star Trek reboot and Mission Impossible. Yeah, J.J. Abrams' aesthetic style actually still looks like this. Like, the Star Trek 09 looks exactly like this. And I've always said he's like a more competent Michael Bay visually. Because I don't love his movies, but he's like better than Michael Bay. But he's a very similar director. Like, how much moving camera can you have? Everything's got to be big. Put in as many jokes and gags as you can. The characters talk really fast and always run. Yeah, now Megan Fox stands up with her insanely white teeth and dark skin, and the mom's like, she's gorgeous. Oh my god. Oh god, this is amazing. My son's getting some poon. I love it. Oh no. Oh no. This is when John Turturro shows up. No, 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 no. Oh, worst character in this movie by far. God damn, what a great actor too. Why does Michael Bay want the best actors to give the worst performances? Like John Turturro, John Malkovich, Frances McDormand. It's cruel, man. It's cruel. He gets these great actors and he's like, come in and be horrible. I don't want you to be good in this. I want you to be over the top and stupid, and I'm going to give you $1 million. Like, why waste John Turturro? He could have been like the Jeff Goldblum all of Jurassic Park. He could have been amazing in this. He's great in like Quiz Show, Barton Fink. And he's so terrible. He's so cringe in this. The way he acts. Criminals are hot. I hate this fucking guy. I hate him in the sequels. Even though he becomes more endearing as it goes on just because, like, you know, he's been in all of them. But, like, God, this first movie, he's so annoying how he acts. He's so over the top in every scene. You never buy him at all as a guy who works for the government. He's not intimidating. I know he's supposed to be that way, like a joke of a character that takes himself seriously, but it just doesn't work. Because the writing for the comedy's terrible. His acting and it's very poor. He's just overacting, and it doesn't mesh well with what's going on in the movie at this point. It's once again introducing a new character, just like they introduced Anthony Anderson 45 minutes in. We're 1 hour and 18 minutes in, and they're introducing a new character that's going to be in the rest of the movie. Like, this isn't like a character that was introduced early on. He's introduced later into the movie. Don't forget about Linkin Park, Pat. Oh, God, yeah, they wrote the same song 30 times. I think he's terrible in this movie, too, though. Oh, my God, he's bad. You know, Michael Bay never sent his tribute to pay any acknowledgement to Chester Bennington's passing. Yeah, no, this is some bad stuff. It's really bad. Malkovich was in a Transformers movie? Yeah, he was. He was in, was it the third one? I think Sam goes to work for him. One of the worst stretches of the film. Yeah, no, they get a lot. No, there's a lot of great act. Kelsey Grammer shows up in one of the movies. Why does Bay hate Turturro? He gets peed on with gasoline. That's a good question. I guess he hated Do the Right Thing in Barton Fink, so he's like, I'm gonna fuck this guy over. I hate this guy. You know what's sad? John Turturro probably made more money off being in these films than anything else he ever worked on. That's the saddest part of this, folks. Is that this is the only time he ever probably got a good paycheck. Oh my God. Oh God, just bad banter in the car again. John Turturro just it's been funny this has been Adam Sandler. Shabba-wee-hoo, shabba-wee, shabba-wee-hoo, shabba-woo. A terrible Adam Sandler laugh from there. So funny. Oh my God. I kind of wish I could hear it because I could comment on the dialogue. I guess I could turn subtitles on. I do have that option, don't I? Although, you know, really, it's not like I'm missing anything by not getting the dialogue, but that is kind of, I'm having to go off memory here. Let's see if I can get some subtitles going. Because I care so much about hearing what these people are saying. Okay, there's not a sub... I don't have that option on this setup right now. Okay, so Optimus shows up to save Sam and his girlfriend. And he fucks some shit up. He takes the roof off. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn. God, Optimus, Jesus Christ. Man, he rips the roof off and then just lets the car fall. That's so dangerous. Optimus, Jesus Christ, get your shit together, man. You could have killed Sam. At least, like, realize that these people aren't like you. They're like little animals. Flesh and bone, Optimus. Granted, Optimus is just a cold-blooded killer in this franchise. We must show mercy. And then he blows people's heads off. It's fucking amazing. So yeah, now all the Transformers show up and they're like, yeah, fuck your guns. We're giant robots. I got a magnet. Take that, bitch. There's nothing these people can do. Optimus gets in his face. No, this is supposed to be that moment you're like, oh, we hate this guy. He's over the top and he's been a dick to Sam. Now Optimus is showing him what's what. And the audience is supposed to be like, yeah, get it, Optimus. We love Sam. We want him to win. We don't want this evil company man faggot, this cunt, this child. Company man, cunt, child. You fucking child. You never know because you haven't done it in a day in your life. Oh my god. So she takes the handcuffs off of him, and I wish I could take the handcuffs that are making me watch this film off. Michael Bay has a gun to my head literally right now, and he's like, finish the movie, Pat. You must watch this film. It's beautiful. I said you should have won the Oscar for special effects, Mike. Isn't that enough? No. You must complete the story. Makes it reminded me of Linkin Park. If there's one thing that I hate more than Michael Bay, it's Linkin fucking Park. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, come save me right now. Jesus, please come back right now and take me out of here. Please, Jesus. L. Ron Hubbard, please. Please come take Joseph Smith. Take me to the planet. I want to go. I want to escape, please. You know, doing a commentary for Watchmen, I was just thinking that, though. That'd be 3 fucking hours. That's probably why I didn't do that. Like, this is too long as it is. I gotta start picking, like, 90-minute long movies. Because I'm just talking to myself. Like, if I was talking about this movie with a few beers and I had, like, 5 friends with me, that'd be no big deal. Oh, God, he's got the Sector 7 shirt that's, like, the Superman emblem. Yeah, but I'm sitting here by myself having to, like, come up with stuff. And I'm running out of material, folks. I don't know what the fuck to say anymore. This movie's just like it's just the same shit. It's like unfunny scene, robots, Sam being terrible, no plot. We cut to something else. And then the whole ending's just action scenes. I'm gonna have nothing to say. The entire end of the movie's just gonna be action scenes. It's just all the slow-mo fights and all that. So there's really... Oh my god, there's still so much movie left too. There's an hour. A whole hour! An hour! Why don't you guys ask me some questions so I have something to talk about, because I have no idea what to say anymore. The subs are full of mistakes and they still have not fixed them after 10 years. Who has mentioned cringe comedy, Bay or Sandler? Bay. Well, I don't know, Jack and Jill. The meeting of those two worlds, though, Adam Sandler working Michael Bay movies. You could use double speed. I could just speed run the movie. Just to watch it fast. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you guys ask some questions. You guys have any questions? Because there's really nothing to talk about. There's nothing to say about this movie. This was a bad idea. I don't want to fast forward. I feel like that's cheating. I gotta sit through the whole movie. That's like part of the whole deal with this is I have to be punished and watch the movie. I can't just skip ahead because if I want to. Yeah, this is the best one of the 5, you know, shocking. Yeah, no, this is the best one and it's still kind of just like a crappy movie. Do you like Dune? Yes, I like. You mean the movie or the book? Because I like both, but I really like the book. That's one of my favorite books. But I've went on several rants on live streams about how great Dune is. But if you're asking about the David Lynch film, yes, but it's a weird movie. Very weird movie. Okay, so we're getting to that E.T. moment where the military takes Bumblebee away, and Sam's like, Bumblebee, no! No, Bumblebee! And he runs at him, and we're supposed to feel all emotional because we're supposed to give a shit about this relationship. What are your thoughts on Robert Rodriguez and him doing Alita for Cameron? Robert Rodriguez is only, I think his best film, Sin City, and I don't think that's a great movie, but that's one of his only films with a narrative. I entirely credit that to Frank Miller's comic. I'm not a big Robert Rodriguez fan. I liked Spy Kids when I was a kid, but that's aged horribly. El Mariachi is only impressive because of the budget. Desperado's pretty bland. Once Upon a Time in Mexico sucks. The Spy Kids sequels suck. Very good visual director. This could be his film. Maybe Battle Angel's the one, because James Cameron worked on the script. Maybe that's the one where it'll be good. Maybe that's the one time his visual style combined with the with his because he's very good aesthetically. Great action director, good camera work, but I've never liked it. Excluding Sin City. I like Sin City. I even had this conversation with Bloodman. I go, I think it's his best movie. He's like, really? And then he sat there while he goes, now I'm trying to name a better Robert Rodriguez film, and there isn't one. I can't think of one. I go, there isn't. I go, that's his best movie, and that's not even like a great movie, but that's easily his best film because at least there's story, and Mickey Rourke's awesome in it, and like Bruce Willis, and it's kind of like visually like the Dick Tracy film. It's got his cool style, but terrible writer. Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn, the first half. The first half of From Dusk Till Dawn before it becomes a vampire movie. The first movie with George Clooney and Tarantino as the brothers and the stuff in the RV, that's a good fucking movie. So the first half of that, but Sin City I think is more consistent. I haven't worked on my Ex Machina review at all, but eventually. Favorite Autobot, favorite Decepticon. Starscream's easily my favorite Decepticon. Favorite Autobot, it would depend on what show we're talking about. Like if it was Beast Wars, it would be Rat Attack was his name, I think. The rat character. I liked him a lot, but I've always been a big Optimus Prime fan, actually, though. He's actually been one of my favorite heroes ever since I was a kid. The Gorillas returning. I'm okay about it. I don't hate the Gorillas. Yeah, Dark of the Moon might have better single sequences in it, but I still think it's a much worse movie because it's so freaking, like, ridiculous with the historical stuff. Let's see. So embarrassing that Ricardo Montalban is in Spy Kids. Yeah. That's true. Thoughts on Studio Ghibli, or is it Ghibli? I love Studio Ghibli. Some of my favorite films of all time were made by them, and not just the Miyazaki films too. I mean, obviously Grave of the Fireflies, but I thought that The Secret World of Arrietty was great. I think I even like Pompoko a lot, to be honest with you. But obviously, I think they're the original Pixar. I think their storytelling beats. I think their elegance. One of my favorite studios in the world, not just animation studio. I still think they make good movies. But the thematic depth and then the way their stuff is painterly and the lovable characters. But obviously Miyazaki, Kiki's Delivery Service, one of my favorite movies. Spirited Away is one of my favorite movies. And I love Princess Mononoke and all that, but those ones always stood out to me. Nausicaa's an incredible movie. Nausicaa's arguably the best animated film of the 80s. Like that, Akira, and a couple other films. But Nausicaa's like Mad Max or something. It's an amazing dystopian film. Although that's not Ghibli. That was before Ghibli, actually. So I can't credit that one, even though they released them on discs. Kind of like Castle of Cagliostro. Yeah, Castle in the Sky is an amazing action. I actually think Totoro is really overrated and kind of slow, and I think the ending kind of ruins it that the mother doesn't die. Because it kind of ruins what I think the movie's about. But I'm not a big fan of My Neighbor Totoro. I love Kiki's Delivery Service, though. I think it's much better. Porco Rosso's great. One of the most underrated films, which just got finally a re-release, a dub recently, Rat Trap, yeah. But it always had a sub, is Only Yesterday by Sao Takahata. And that's an incredible movie. And it's one of those great animated films. It doesn't have any like big fantasy elements to it, any action. It's just life. It's just a woman looking back on her childhood and her life, and it's just one of those nostalgic, real life looking. It's an amazing movie called Only Yesterday. For a long time, it was hard to get, but they re-released it like last year. But that's an amazing. It's just like a great drama. Like it could have been made live action, and it would be a great movie. It'd be a masterpiece if it was a live action movie. It feels like a movie that'd be released on the Criterion Collection. I love that movie so much. I think about it sometimes. Like it stays with you. It kind of subtly builds these emotions, and then it really hits you heavy. Whisper of the Heart. Really nice little romance. Rat Trap. I know this great little hole in the wall where the fembots don't wear the chest plates. That's amazing. They're using Ace from Powerpuff Girls and Gorillas. I didn't know that. Been reading Alita. Definitely could see how it can work as a blockbuster, unlike Ghost in the Shell. Oh yeah, no, Battle Angel should have been a movie for a long time, but I guess the tech is there now. I think Battle Angel could make an awesome movie. I don't know if Robert Rodriguez will make it, but a lot of the pre-production was already done by Cameron and the scripting and other people, so who knows? Rodriguez is a good technical director, so this might be the movie where he actually makes something great, because I don't think he's ever made a great movie. I think his work's very shallow. He seems like a cool dude. Like, I'd like to hang out with Robert Rodriguez. He seems like an awesome guy in interviews and all that, but his actual, his films, I don't find anything to them. Unfortunately, because I do think, you know, he's once again, he's got some talent. Do you like Transformers Prime? From what I've seen of it, yes. But it's a little vague. Is Repo Man a good movie? I tried watching. You mean the movie with Emilio Estevez, or are you thinking of Repo Man with Alex Cox as Repo Man? That's an amazing movie. Like one of the best movies ever. Even though Alex Cox's politics are absolutely terrible. That and Sid and Nancy, but Repo Man's it's kind of like an early Tarantino flick. It's just people hanging around in cars talking. But it's got aliens, it's punk rock, it's got so much going on. It's a really creative film, both visually, but with its design and the dialogue and the characterization and that. It's kind of got the one that's like comic booky. Kind of reminds me of The Warriors, what Walter Hill did with that. Everything's so stripped down. Yeah, that one, no, I love that movie. I mean, I can get if you're not into it. It's kind of dry and kind of a distant film, and you kind of have to be into certain kind of movie, but I love Repo Man. But that's pretty cliche for film buff, film nerds to be like, I love Repo Man. It's just a, you know, legendary film. Did you listen to the recent Kill streams? I listened to like one of them, like half of one, but I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was busy. I was in Columbus getting my apartment set up and getting the lease figured out and the finances and checking out Columbus. We were trying to figure out where everything was at. We actually had a great time. I went there with my girlfriend for 2 days and we had a great vacation. And I'm really excited to live there. I can't wait to live there. They have a mall there in Polaris that's like a really nice mall. I mean, I've been to, you know, bigger, nicer malls. Obviously, I lived in Albuquerque for a while and some other places, and they have some pretty big malls. But it was a really nice mall. It was nice to go to a mall where all the stores were open. Great food court. I was shocked how good the food was in Columbus. They had a lot of good food. They had like, they even had like Greek food and stuff. They had like foods from other countries. I thought it would be like PA where it was all hoagies and Italian food and stuff like that. But they actually had a lot of variety of restaurants. I didn't get to go to many of the bars, but the hotel we were staying in, it had an amazing bar. So we kind of hung out there a little bit. It was just nice to be in a hotel with my girlfriend and hang out and have fun. But we you know, we went out to eat a little bit, but we mainly were going to different apartment places that we had set up places. We had set up different apartment that we were going to go have meetings with, and we checked out like a bunch of apartments, but then we found one that we just fell in love with, and it was big, and the location, it was in a safe area, it's close to downtown, it's right by a bunch of millionaires and stuff like that, it's right by a rich neighborhood, so I had a great time, and I can't wait to live there. I like the vibe of that place. You know, it's a city, but it's not like a crowded city, it's not, you know, compartmentalized, it's not like, it's very spacious, and it's kind of like a big town. And I like that vibe. Even though a lot of people live there and it's a growing economy, it just feels like a big town, and I had a really good time there. You know, I like Cleveland, but Cleveland's a lot like Pittsburgh, and I like visiting those places, but I kind of have an issue living there. I feel like it's too cramped and a little too urban for my taste. I kind of like the more there's something a little bit modern about Columbus I liked. You like Cheesecake Factory? That's fine. Mr. Medicare, Mumkey Jones, and Dick Masterson teamed up. I saw that. Yeah. I saw some of that. If you have Repo Man, you should check out Antiviral. You're the anti-Chris Stuxman. During the battle, Rat Trap, that was the party I expected. Optimus Prime. Let's mingle. That's amazing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Beast Wars, the animation looks like dog shit now, but the writing for that show's good. Beast Machines was always kind of bad, but like Beast Wars actually had some really good writing and characterization. It's just, man, that computer animation looks like crap. That and Reboot Reboot also has some good writing. But you go watch them and you're like, God, I can't even look at this. This looks terrible. It's just a mess. And I actually think they have good writing, though. Where did you grow up? I grew up outside of Dallas, Texas. I was born in Dallas, and then I lived outside of there. And then I lived a few years in Albuquerque when I was a kid, and then I lived there a little bit again when I was like 13. But for the most part, I lived about an hour outside of Dallas in East Texas. Till I was 19, then I moved to Pennsylvania. But I grew up my whole life in the South. Have you ever been to Vermont? I have not been to Vermont. I've driven through Vermont, but I've never actually been in there, hung out, or anything. I was kind of reluctant to move to Ohio. So I always heard Ohio was kind of a shithole. Which, you know, places like Dayton and Akron are, you know, there's bad parts. But I really got sold on Columbus. My girlfriend really liked going there for rabbit shows, and she always told me about it. And we were going to move to Pittsburgh or a couple other places. And then we went, and then I started reading stuff about Columbus, and I just liked the vibe of it. And we went there, and I had a good time. I really enjoyed it. And it's just more my pace. Something about the vibe and energy of Pittsburgh doesn't fit me, even though I like Pittsburgh. I'm not crapping on Pittsburgh. I like being there, but Columbus was more of like, it reminded me of the South a little bit more. I was set up. It reminded me of Houston or Dallas a little bit more, places I was used to. But that was set up, not the people. Obviously, it's different in that way, but I enjoy the layout of the city. I enjoy, like, there's one road to get to everywhere. It doesn't, you know, if there's no traffic, it pretty much takes you like 15 minutes to get anywhere in town. There's enough bars there at the Short North. There's enough going on. You know, I do kind of upset the lack of an art scene and like a retro film scene. One cool thing about Pittsburgh is they have those retro theaters where they show old movies. Like at this really cool place called the Oaks Theater, where they'll do stuff like they'll have like beer with Ninja Turtles or beer with Princess Bride or all sorts of movies. Like they're even showing Spirited Away this week, and you know, and there's not a lot of stand-up comedy and stuff like that in Columbus. There's not like a lot of stand-ups come through. It's got a pretty decent music scene with the festivals. And, you know, you're near Cleveland, so little shows go through. But, you know, I'm kind of a guy, I like to go to plays. I like to go to, I'm a big theater guy. I like art. I like films. I like those theaters, like, you know, an Alamo Drafthouse. And there's really nothing like that in Columbus. It does lack that kind of a culture. It doesn't really have one. But the rent's ridiculously cheap. It's so easy to rent there. It's cheap. And everything's really close together. And there's parking. I didn't have any trouble getting parking anywhere. So I don't know if I'm going to live there forever, but I liked it. You know, I might live there a few years. And I'm getting to a point, I'm getting near 30, and I'm just ready to kind of get out of the area I'm in and go do something else. Start over. The only place I've ever been is Canada, and I've been to Mexico. That's about it. I've never been anywhere, you know, abroad or anything like that. I've never went to the other side of the world or anything like that. I'd like to. I'd like to go to Paris, even though I hate the French, because they're wrong about everything. There's lots of places I'd like to go, but yeah, it's just, you know, it costs money and to have the time to do it. Are you and Stuckman gonna collab? That is funny. Chris Stuckman lives in Cleveland. So does Sinatra, says. Even though I don't know if we'd work, but Sinatra lives in Cleveland too, I know. But I did think about that, Chris Stuckman being in Cleveland. I don't know why he stayed there. If I had 1 million subs and I was making that much money, you know, the guy's making a few $100,000 a year. I would not stay in Cleveland. I would probably have moved out to like Seattle or something. I don't know why. I guess he just likes Cleveland. I guess he grew up there. But yeah, I guess I could collab with Chris. I could meet him there. Because I would be close. I mean, I would just be able to drive and meet him at like a con or something. Okay, Dark Knight turns 10 soon. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, I don't like the French at all. I like their movies. I hate their philosophy, their postmodernism. I hate their scholar, how they affected our culture. I find them very cowardly. They're assholes. They're not racist. They're bigots against everyone. I have really no love for the French. How are you gonna start over? You know, just a new apartment with my girlfriend and living there and you know, working and trying to get some investors from the movies I'm making with Blood Money and the scripts we're working on. And there's a lot of companies there. Nationwide's there, Kroger's there, Victoria's Secret's there, Wendy's is there. Eventually, I'd like to move to Seattle. I just don't quite have enough capital and a job set up there. But Blood Money lives in Seattle. I'd like to move to Seattle. But I you know, probably, you know, he's going to come visit me this fall in Columbus, and we're going to finish some of the scripts we're working on, and we're going to go try to get funding. We're going to go try to get an investor for one of our movies and see if we can get it, you know, show at some festivals and get distribution. Or Netflix or something like that. That's the plan. And, you know, me and my girlfriend both just want to, you know, there's a lot of parks in Columbus. So, you know, we want to go to parks. We want to, there's not a lot of, there's no beaches or anything like that. There's not a lot of outside stuff. But, you know, we want to, you know, she's younger than me. She wants to go hit up some bars in the city. You know, I'm kind of over that phase. I did that a lot when I was younger. And, you know, we want to go to a more populated area. It's a very young city. There's a lot of young people there in their 20s. The job market's great. They got a low unemployment rate. So, you know, I mean, there's crime there, obviously. It's that many people, you know, there's like 100-something murders a year, but, you know, it's whatever. I mean, it's mainly black people that murder each other there. I think out of like 120 murders, 115 were black. So I guess as long as I'm not black, I should be okay, statistically speaking. Yeah, it is expensive for sure. How will rebrand as please fast forward. I mean, I'm still going to be the channel. I mean, I don't know how I'm you know, I'm still going to be doing everything I'm doing here. I'll just be living in a different place. So you might be getting videos in different locations, or it might affect my mood and all that. Who knows? I mean, it will be different. No, I know you got a high minimum wage, but your property is high. Like, rent is very high in Seattle. It is expensive to rent there. Like in Ohio, you can get a 2-bedroom apartment for like $500. And a nice 2-bedroom apartment. I'm not talking about like some shithole. I mean like a nice place in a nice area. That's hard to do that in Seattle. Food's even cheap there. And Seattle's like, and Ohio's really good on taxes. You don't got to pay like property tax or anything like that. They don't even require car inspections. It's crazy. They're so loose about everything. But Blood Money's from Seattle, and he's coming down here to visit, so I guess we'll see what he has to say. I should start a second channel, please fast forward. That'd be funny. Oh, well, we should probably get back to Transformers. Bumblebee was being tortured by the government. Now he's transforming again, and Sam's like, it's okay, buddy. I'm here. We need your help. We gotta go fight the bad guys. And Bumblebee's pointing his gun around. Favorite plays? I mean, it's hard to not, you know, the Chekhov stuff. I mean, Jesus, anything him or Shakespeare. I mean, really. But, yeah, let's get more specific. David Mamet, Glengarry Glen Ross, American Buffalo. 2 of my favorite plays. I'm a big fan of musicals. I like Sunday in the Park with George. Book of Mormon is actually one of the best musicals I've ever seen, but my favorite's probably Sunday in the Park with George. I like Stephen Sondheim in general, though. I've seen some Woody Allen plays. Neil Simon plays, obviously. Brighton Beach Memoirs. I wish I could have seen Matthew Broderick in it. Biloxi Blues, The Odd Couple. Greek stuff I like. I like the Greek comedies. So what? I'm just kind of a theater geek. Pippin. I mean, pretty much, I even like bad plays. I even like Andrew Lloyd Webber and his terrible crap and generic plays. I just like theater. I like being in a theater. I like sitting there. I like the illusion of it, that it's not real, but it feels real because of actors and a certain trick of presentation. I like the energy of being around the people. You know, when theater's good, when the people and the cast are good and the direction's good, it's really amazing. Bob Fosse, his stuff. A Chorus Line, I like, obviously. I mean, just, yeah, in general. I mean, I'm pretty broad with that. Little Shop of Horror is one of my favorites, but I'm naming musicals. I'm trying to think of non-musicals, you know, besides, like, the obvious stuff like David Mamet or Miller, you know, obvious, you know, instead of, you know, oh, Death of a Salesman, you know, instead of naming the obvious stuff, you know, oh, Fences, you know, I'm trying to think of things that are more unique. I've seen a lot of local theater stuff that's really great, where it's a local playwright and local actors do something together. That's really interesting, because you're seeing something you wouldn't see anywhere else, something that's not being repeated by a bunch of different casts either. And this own theater group kind of worked it out together. I always wanted to direct plays. That was always kind of one of my fallback jobs if I didn't direct movies or like make videos or edit and stuff like that. I always liked the idea of being a play director, not a playwright necessarily, because I don't think I'd be very good at writing a play. But I'd like to direct theater. I think I'd be very good at it, the staging and all that. When will I see you on High Council, Sardonicast, or the Killstream? When I get enough subscribers for them to care. What's happening in the movie right now? They're at the Hoover Dam. They're at the dam right now, and Starscream and Megatron are teamed up now. And all those things are coming together with it. We're about to get to the big finale where they all fight in the city. Like the last half hour of the movie. There's that line of dialogue between Megatron and Starscream that has no setup for people that don't know Transformers. Oh yeah, no, Seattle's all about like bookstores and art scenes and theaters and I mean that's what it is. And hipsters and their microbrews. Yeah, I love Little Shop of Horrors too. I think it's wonderful. You could get me a part. Okay. I mean, I'm not really an actor. That's not really my bag. Come to Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle. I'll drive up and buy you a drink. If I get a chance to, I mean, I might go up there to see Blood Money. If any of you guys live up there, I'll meet up with you guys. Oh, no, the Serpico play in Rushmore's fucking hilarious. That's one of my favorite things ever in a movie, is that Jason Schwartzman, Max Fisher's doing a Serpico play. When I was a kid, I didn't even know that was Serpico's one of my favorite movies, but that's so funny now in retrospect. That's hilarious. They're doing a Serpico play. All of his plays in that movie are hilarious. You and Tarantino could compete for best playwright. What does Tarantino write play? I guess The Hateful Eight. I don't write plays though. I've only written screenplays. I've never written a play. It's very different. I don't know if I could write a play. I find screenplays to be easy to write personally. I think they're not that difficult. I'm not saying they're great scripts, but I don't think it's hard to write a screenplay. A play, on the other hand, or a novel, I think is very specific. Because really the screenplay, you're just writing a lot of dialogue and story structure, and it's like 100 pages, maybe a little bit more, but you're not really having to flesh things out and have it all be in the dialogue, because you have a visual aspect to it. Movies are visual, so you can have a lot of it be done with the camera and the editing manipulation. You don't really get that benefit with the stage play. You don't get, and a novel, you can pretty much put as much detail you want or be as minimalist as you want, but you can do what you want. You don't have limitations. With screenplay, it's kind of fun to work within those limitations of TV or movie. It makes it easier because you just have to format it to it, and there's kind of a rule that everybody sort of follows with scripts, and it's easy to play within that rules. I don't think Glengarry Glen Ross is the top 10 movie of all time, but I think it's one of the great movies. I'm a big fan of it, for sure. I've actually been obsessed with it all week. I've been thinking about it a lot this week, Glengarry Glen Ross. I quoted it earlier. I was doing the whole "you cunt, you child," when Al Pacino is yelling at Kevin Spacey, which is a hilarious sequence. Oh, this is the best action scene in the movie, in my opinion. Best action shot. This is when I think it's Demolisher is chasing Sam and them as Bumblebee, and Optimus is following up behind them. I remember in the theater, this was really cool. Back in 2007, when Optimus transforms on the road, and just kind of the energy of this sequence. It's like a really, like the cars speeding down the road real fast. That scene, where, although the continuity is a little lame, but yeah, him wrecking through the bus and it being on fire, and then he tackles Optimus Prime. And they start going at it. That's just a cool shot. Them falling over the bridge is really nice. The CGI looks nice. Cutting to the inside of the car. You know, even though the mom and son are still ignoring Michael Bay shit. Like, yeah, them fighting. Him punching them in slow motion. It looks cool. It kind of reminds me of the Force fight from the second movie, which is the best fight scene in that movie, is that when Optimus fights the Force. This actually kind of has that vibe to it. Optimus pulling the sword out and cutting his arm off. That was very cool when he pulled the sword out and stabbed him in the head. No, it's like Optimus feels like a total badass here. It's just a really visually nice moment, you know, like, because you haven't had much action up until this point, really. You've just had glimpses at it, and some of it's been too long, or some of it's been lacking being fleshed out. That's just like this quick little, like, minute-long sequence that gives you enough. This is one thing I find really unnecessary in this movie is like John Voight and John Turturro and the hacker and all them being in the room and then with the gun and them fighting off the Transformers. I really don't like this. I know Bay's doing this thing where he's trying to have multiple things going at once, but you really don't need this. It just adds out to it just pads the movie out when it doesn't need it. Oh, one thing I was weird about Columbus, though, I went to a Dave & Buster's there, and I'm a big Dave & Buster's fan. It was the smallest Dave & Buster's I've ever been to. Most Dave & Buster's I've been to have like 4 bars, shuffleboard pool tables, the restaurant, and then you walk down to the midway. And sometimes they have more than one midway, like 4, or they'll have bowling alleys in them, like some of Dallas. This Dave & Buster's just had a bar, restaurant, and a midway, and they were right beside each other as soon as you went in the front door. And that was it. It was cute. It was like a big Chuck E. Cheese, but it was weird because every Dave & Buster's I've ever been to, like even the one in Pittsburgh's like big. Like it's the midway's huge, the restaurant part's huge, and the bars are all huge. And then they have the sections you can go like play pool, and they have the screens up. And there was none of that. This Dave & Buster's, just Dave & Buster's was just half an arcade with the games, and the other half was a restaurant bar, and that was it. It was very small. I was like, this is weird. I didn't know they had Dave & Buster's like this. It kind of takes the part of the appeal because part of the thing is Dave & Buster's is that classy barcade thing where you feel like you're not just getting an arcade experience, you're getting this other experience like that. But this didn't have that vibe to it. It was just an arcade with a bar in it, which a lot of places have. But there is a cool arcade there called like 16-bit, where they have nothing but 16-bit like arcade cabinet games or something. It's like 50 arcade cabinet games, classic games, and with beer. Yeah, no, Dave & Buster's usually big. This was like a little one. This was like a mini Dave & Buster's. I'd never seen one that's small. Pat, you're a good broadcaster. What are your favorite radio podcast hosts? My favorite podcast radio show of all time is This American Life. Ira Glass. NPR. I think that's the best radio show ever done because it's about storytelling and the format's absolutely brilliant. I'm a big Howard Stern fan, obviously. I was a fan of Imus, classic Opie and Anthony, but not for Opie, mainly for Patrice O'Neill, Bill Burr, Louis C.K., Anthony. I like How Did This Get Made, the podcast. I like how the slow motion shot of Megan Fox's face, him and her looking at each other. Oh, what are we gonna do? And they reach the hand out to each other. Oh my god, this is comical. This is supposed to be like a serious dramatic moment. It's funny. I like Bret Easton Ellis's podcast a lot. Orson Welles, obviously, his classic stuff I'm a big fan of. You know, it's a lot. I mean, I'm a fan of most of the popular stuff that's out there, but those are probably the ones that stand out to me the most of the things I just named. Off the top of my head, I'm probably forgetting some stuff. Like the old Shadow radio plays, or modern day. I'm probably forgetting some podcasts I really love. I mean, Adam Carolla's entertaining, obviously. Will Alita be able to compete with Aquaman, Bumblebee, and animated Spider-Man in December? I don't know. I think definitely it should do better than the animated Spider-Man movie. Aquaman, that's up in the air. Those movies are all up in the air, really. That's tough. I don't know if any of those films will do well or not. Tarantino's going to hang his towel after 2 more. Well, he says that. That doesn't mean he will. You know, he's also said he's going to make sequels to a lot of his films in Kill Bill 3, and he hasn't done that. So I don't always know if I believe Tarantino. Now I want to go back to Dave & Buster's. Yeah, I'm from Dallas, so I went to the original Dave & Buster's is in Dallas. That was the first one, so I've been to Dave & Buster's a lot. There's like 3 of them there, but I used to go to the original one a lot. Do you like Alita will be able... Oh, sorry, I already read that. Good list. I mostly listen to classic O&A. I like Jim Jeffries, who does several podcasts. Oh, Ricky Gervais's podcast with Carl Pinkerton or whatever. That's funny. Where he's just an idiot. I do like that show. I was really into that. I even like the animated show HBO did. Okay, so now we're in the final bit of Transformers where it's all the slow motion action. This was the stuff that I think this is the reason this movie made $700 million, in my opinion. So I think most of this movie's kind of a bore with some bad jokes, and not a lot of action, but Michael Bay, to his credit, even though it doesn't really hold up, he saves everything for the last half hour. So the last half hour, you get all of the good guys and the bad guys fighting in the city. You get Transformers on Transformers, like Jazz is fighting a tank. You get Starscream flying in, and they're like, it's Starscream. There's a bunch of slow motion. Bumblebee gets his legs ripped off, and he has an arm cannon, and they attach him to like a tow truck. The Transformers are flipping around. There's just a lot of action. Like Josh Duhamel like slides under a Transformer with the fucking grenade launcher. You know, she's wrecking the car. There's just a lot of spectacle right now. You know, for 2007, these special effects are impressive. Now that I'm watching it, the editing's kind of crazy. The camera work kind of is crazy. But like, there's a scene where Megatron's chasing Sam Witwicky, and it looks really good. I remember that when he's knocking things over. But yeah, this is the part of the movie that I think is what everyone kind of came out celebrating. It was into as a spectacle, as a piece of pop cinema, was watching these robots fight each other on the big screen. And you know, you never really seen something like this before. You'd never seen giant robots with that good of special effects fighting for. You'd seen some movies do stuff like this, try to, but you'd never seen like a jet fly and land on buildings like that I can think of. I can't remember a movie having this stuff before. This is when he rips Jazz in half. You want a piece of me? I want two. But yeah, this was actually new. We've kind of taken this stuff for granted. I think, you know, Pacific Rim and other things, you know, can't really lead up. But back at the time, or even mech stuff in general, or giant robot stuff, this was the first time we ever really saw big giant robots in a movie like this, and it looked realistic enough, especially at the time. And they were fighting, and there was a lot going on. So that, you know, in that sense, this movie was groundbreaking. Or at least did something that hadn't been done before. In that regard, that we had never seen giant robots in a movie that looked real before, and them fighting. That was something new to this movie. And it probably that alone's the one achievement of Michael Bay's career, is he gets the credit for doing that. For being the guy who made the first big robot special effects movie. For better or worse. I think this led to a lot of shitty stuff, and I don't think they ever really captured that sense of awe again that this movie had at the time from seeing this stuff. But it was still, you know, and even now some of the close-ups on the Transformers' faces look really dated. That stuff doesn't look so good anymore. The shots from far away look good. Sam, I just want you to know I'm really glad I got in that car with you. Oh my god. Ugh. All this forced like romance and drama and comedy, like none of it feels organic. It's all so like forced and like stereotypical. Like they know the movie needs it, so they're throwing it in there. But you know, I don't. Once again, but at the time, this was cool. This was really cool. Seeing Sam Witwicky run with the cube and the Transformers fighting, and the special effect. I mean, it looked cool at the time. You know, this was new. This was fresh. This was exciting. I remember this being exciting. I remember not enjoying the movie really that much, and then every time I'd get to the ending, I always thought this was really cool. You know, there's not too much of it. It doesn't drag on for 45 minutes like the end of Man of Steel. There's just enough to satisfy you. There's some cool shots. You know, there's a lot going on, and unlike a lot of the other movie where there's too much going on, a lot going on here actually keeps the movie kind of like it keeps an energy up. There's this awesome shot here where Optimus does the thing with his arms. Which somebody used in an editing thing that was hilarious. I can't remember. It might have been ER or someone like that, where they have Optimus do the thing with his arms. But yeah, Optimus does that awesome thing with, you know, there's a shot of him, and then he grabs the jet, and they go through the building. You know, that's cool stuff. For 2007, this looks really cool. And once again, it looks like a movie from that decade. It looks like a movie from that era. But him and Megatron, that looks cool. Like, it's, you know, it's neat. It's good special effect. What's really impressive, a lot of it, is how well it blends in with the environment. Michael Bay was very good at that, and was throughout most of the films, except maybe the fourth and fifth. But like the buildings look like real buildings, the streets and all that. And I think a lot of this was shot on location. I don't think a lot of the backgrounds and the locations are CGI. I think just the Transformers are. But one thing that looks really cool is like when Optimus smashes through the glass in the building, the glass in the building actually smashes. Or where he lands by a car, like it all looks real. Everything around them looks real. There's the backgrounds don't look CGI, the buildings don't look CGI, the roads, the cars, nothing looks like CG. Which a lot of folks do. And around the Avengers film had a lot of CGI background. It actually looked pretty good. So it's not like that stuff can't look good, but you know, like the blending with the CGI robots with the environment looks pretty damn seamless, really. It looks nice. And I remember that's what was one of the big things about this movie that really sold it, was how well the CGI blended in with the environment. It looked very modern at the time, and it kind of looked like something we hadn't really. You could tell movies were getting better with this stuff. And this was before all of movies were CGI. It was still like you had to mix the two things together. Like a lot of this looks like a '90s movie. You know, a lot of the way Michael Bay's shooting it, but he's just having better CGI than say like Godzilla 1998 or something like that, or even Independence Day. This just has some better CG in it. Oh yeah, the Mountain Dew machine comes alive. We get some maximum overdrive in this. Oh yeah, the girl's steering wheel takes it. God, that girl looks like Megan Fox. That's weird. Yeah, all the Decepticons and robots come alive around. I remember that in the second one. There's like a fucking ice cream truck Decepticon. I remember absolutely nothing about this part. Thoughts on an anime movie, Your Name? I did a review of that movie if you want to hear my thoughts on it. I have a review up on this channel, which a review I'm pretty proud of. But I like that movie a lot. I love its structure. I love that it kind of sneaks up. You think it's one story, like a Freaky Friday body switch movie, and then it becomes this. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but I guess I will. But then it becomes a time travel story, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Then it becomes something else altogether. It becomes, I know, and I see why J.J. Abrams bought and wants to make it. I mean, there's a blockbuster movie there, and that film was a blockbuster, made $350 million. But there's like a blockbuster live action film there because it's got this amazing sequence where he's falling through the sky that's like 2001. But the story starting out like as like a comedy situation, and then turning into a time travel love story, and then turning into this epic disaster film where this thing's trying to be prevented is amazing. It turns into a different movie, and it gets better as it goes on. And there's certainly the plot twist there is better than anything Chris Nolan or J.J. Abrams has come up with in any of their movies. And I could see why. When I saw the movie, when I watched it, I go, crap, this feels like a hit movie that if somebody made for like $100 million, this could be like a $500-600 million blockbuster. And I thought, man, I'd like to make then Abrams, but I go, fuck. I don't think he's directing though. I'm okay with him producing, but when I saw it, I said, I wonder why. I was like, oh, I can see J.J. Abrams. Like, I wish he probably thinks he could have made this. Then he bought it. But if he hires a good director like Dan Trachtenberg or someone, I think there is a movie in there, a live action film, but it's terrific. It's a little unfinished. I know that the director said he didn't get to fully flesh it out, but God, the structure of the film and the execution is absolutely phenomenal. The effects still look pretty good. Bumblebee on the back of this truck shooting still looks pretty damn good. That actually looks really good now that I'm looking at it. The music kicks in. It's like like the music gets all heavy, and it's supposed to be a badass moment. This stuff really killed then. Like, I'm not saying I loved it, but I remember audiences responded to this. When I first saw this movie, there was a black guy in the theater, though, and every time there was like an explosion or he'd go, damn, damn, god damn, damn, fuck, damn, for like an hour. See, typically I like the black people talking in the movie. It's funny, like Snakes on a Plane. That was hilarious. Or when I saw Batman Begins and the guy kept talking with his wife. But this movie, the guy kept just going, damn. Holy shit, damn. I was like, dude, I get it, damn. Motherfucker. Oh, no, the Matrix sequels have terrible CGI. It's embarrassing. It's funny, the first Matrix has, like, amazing special effects of CGI. It looks great. I don't know how they just put too much CGI that the technology wasn't there yet. You can't make... Humans still don't look good with CGI, and they tried to do Neo with CGI, and it just looked bad. We still haven't really been able to figure out making humans look good in CG. We're just not there yet. Oh, this is so funny. Sam running out to throw the cube in the helicopter. It's so, like, the Matrix. Actually, a lot of these aesthetics, I gotta say, I guess that the Wachowskis kind of kicked this off. In the same way that, like, Star Wars influenced the 80s. And, like, Jurassic Park and Terminator influenced the 90s. The Matrix really did kick off the aesthetic of the 2000s. The Wachowski sisters, when they made that film, if you look at that and look at like Raimi's Spider-Man and films like this, they all kind of come from the Matrix. That was that film of its time that affected how movies were made aesthetic. Except the leather and all that, but the way fight scenes and camera work and CGI was blended into the environment. It does sound like a Family Guy cutaway. That's true. What about CG Megan Fox in the Transformers? She is a CGI creature, isn't she? No, these scenes with Megatron going after Sam look really cool. I mean, I hate the camera work and what he's doing with it, but like Megatron looks really good. That doesn't look too bad. That actually looks pretty good. When he's chasing him in the building and all that, that looks really nice. One of those scenes where Sam's falling, he falls in every one of these movies. He falls in the third one like 80 times. That's actually a cool moment where he's falling and Optimus catches him in his hand. It's a little Iron Giant. And then Optimus goes down the buildings. It's kind of an epic moment, like him falling in his hand and him holding him like, I got you. That's actually kind of cool. I'll give Bay that. This movie, unlike the sequels, has those little moments. And it's not so crazy and over the top. Like, there's still all the scale and all the crazy camera work and editing, but there's those little moments where it's like he lets something have a lot of impact and be small, like Sam just being caught, and it's not just like, how much shit can I put on the screen? He actually knows how to have a bit of restraint. So Optimus is telling Sam basically, if I don't beat Megatron, put the cube in me. Then he says the famous one shall stand, one shall fall from the Transformer. One shall stand, one shall fall. And then he goes on to get his ass kicked. And we see this fight off camera. This whole fight stays focused on Sam Witwicky. We do that Gareth Edwards Godzilla thing again. We didn't get to see Bumblebee fight earlier. Now we're all like, oh great, Optimus and Megatron. I can't wait to see this fight. And we barely see it. Like, we show Sam Witwicky, and then we just show Optimus getting thrown around. Optimus is just getting tossed. We cut back to Sam Witwicky. We cut to the military guys. Like, we don't get this big epic Transformers fight that it feels like the movie's promising. That shot of the helicopter landing in the alleyway, that's actually a pretty good shot, actually. It's one of the better shots in the movie. We just see Megatron beating the shit out of Optimus in the distance. I'm sure a lot of the reason they did this stuff was just limitations. Money and special effects at the time. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of this was, but they could have trimmed so much other stuff to give us more of Optimus and Megatron, though, at the same time. Yeah, this is when Josh Jamal, he gets on the motorcycle, the crotch rocking, and slides under the Decepticon and blows it up. It's like, now the military guys are getting their revenge. Oh, is this the scene where Starscream is the jet and he, like, it takes the other jets out? That was pretty cool. That scene might have already happened. I remember thinking that was cool. Man, people always talk about Abrams lens flares. There's a shitload of lens flares in this movie. Holy crap. Lens flare city. Alright, Fergie's husband, Tom Brady, is riding, and we're showing the jets, and Starscream and the jets. Yep, he's sliding under the guy and he blows him the fuck up, and then he's like, ah, yay, I'm a badass. The humans actually have some firepower after all. Sam is once again watching Optimus just get his butt kicked by Megatron. Optimus is not putting up a fight. Nope, here's the scene where Starscream flies in. This is a cool scene. This is cool when he jumps on the jets and takes him out. I always thought this was cool. A lot of the camera moves a little too fast, but it's nice. It's nicely storyboard if they storyboard. It's nice staging for a sequence. Him flying through the air and then going in and out of being transformed. See, that shit looked really cool in 2007, the actual transformation effect. Like, seeing Starscream go from a jet into that, they pulled that off very well. That aspect, the actual, them coming together and going back to peace. And that's always kind of the gimmick that made the toys so fun. And made the cartoon so fun. It was fun to see in a movie. I actually wish they would have played it up a little bit more. I don't think there's enough transforming. There needs to be more of that stuff, like Starscream going in and out. There needs to be more stuff like Optimus turning into the truck or not. They kind of just have them in the giant robot form a lot of the time, which is fine, but if you're going to have that Transformer gimmick, use it a little bit more. So Optimus is like, Sam, do this, and then Sam gets the bright idea to put the cube in Megatron's chest, because then it, like, blows Megatron the fuck up, I think. He gives him really bad heartburn. That's what happens. It's Heartburn City. Needs to take a Tums, have a few Rolaids or something.
Yeah, it just burns Megatron out. Megatron's like so weird in this series, how he just comes and goes. And the day has been won. Sam Witwicky did it. Our hero did it. Our Luke Skywalker. And then Optimus is like, goodbye, my brother. Some shit like that. He's like, I'm sorry, brother, that you had to die. He did it. We did it. Optimus tells Sam, like, thank you or some crap. I can't remember. Linkin Park is coming in soon, though. So we're going to get the big finale. This movie has been on for 2 hours and 12 minutes. You know, all things considered, the pacing wasn't so bad. You know, I've gotten through it, but it's definitely, it's been a drag. The middle of the movie takes a while to pick up again. What if we got James Gunn or James Cameron transfer? That would be better. The new Power Rangers film actually had some good elements in the first act, but it completely falls apart when they actually become the Power Rangers. Like, Billy and all that are actually kind of likable. I think you could have made a good a good Power Rangers movie. It's one of those things I don't think... I'd like to stay with the boy. Bumblebee just wants to stay with Sam because it's a movie and that's what movies do. You don't need to explain it. The relationship doesn't have to make sense. Michael Bay, Restraint? What other movies would we be doing commentaries on? I don't know. I'll, you know, maybe we'll find out next Saturday. I don't know yet, to be honest. The Allspark piece, but then the Allspark piece revives Megatron. I know. I keep wanting to say Magneto, and I'm like, it's fucking Megatron. I don't know what I'm gonna watch next Saturday. You know, if you guys actually wait till the video's over, you could leave in the comments what you think I should watch. There's a lot of movies I could watch. I could watch Ferris Bueller. I mean, although that would just be fun. I could watch, you know, a Zack Snyder film. I could watch a Marvel. I could watch a 90s con. I could watch an Adam Sandler movie. I could watch a horror film. I could watch Frank Henenlotter films. I could watch Dario Argento films. I could watch something like Mean Streets. I mean, there's unlimited options. I could legit watch anything, you know. So I don't know. But I'm trying to stay kind of generic and broad in films that kind of affect the last decade. So, you know, I thought Transformers was a great place to start. This wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. I kind of ran out of material after about like I don't know, an hour and a half. I just ran out of things to say. There isn't a lot to make fun of in this movie. That's kind of something I didn't realize. I thought there'd be more to make fun of and pick apart and really, you know, nitpick and talk about the bad writing and dialogue. But really, it's just a big ball of generic. It's not so terrible you can make fun of it, and it's not good enough to, like, praise it. It's somewhere right in the middle. So I might have made a bad choice with this movie. The sequels might have been a better option. So Optimus is narrating, and the Linkin Park comes in. It's fucking hilarious. It's so dated. Like, you know, a good movie to watch would be like Daredevil, like Adam watched that in your movie Sex, like Space Jam. Those are good movies to do commentaries for, like Space Jam, because it's like what the fuck? Directed by Michael Bay. You know, we made it. Those are good films to do commentaries for. You know, dated, funny, ridiculous movies. This really isn't dated or ridiculous in that way. It's just kind of like, it's a Michael Bay movie. It would be much better if I think talking about something like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head would be a good example. Battlefield Earth, Alien Resurrection, those kinds of movies probably. You know, that era, Stuart Little. You know, those are films I think you could be like, whoa, and make more jokes about and stuff like that. So we get some, after the ending stuff with the parents, some jokes. I watched Fists of Fury yesterday. Is that the ping pong movie? Remember when Jay-Z and Linkin Park did a mashup album? Yes, I do remember that. I've been listening to Kanye's new album. Yeah, that's been pretty... I'm actually really like it. I wish it was 10 tracks instead of 7, but I guess he's got the album coming out with Kid Cudi next week, so... But if it was 10 tracks, I think it'd be great. I think it's just a little too short, but some of the songs are awesome. Ghost Town's amazing. Starship Troopers 2 deserve... Yeah, something like that, like Starship Troopers 2. That would be a great movie to watch. Yeah, I need to find, like, something that there's more comedy. stuff to make fun of. There really wasn't much to make fun of here. It was just commentary about how bad it is, and going back to like to watch Buffalo 66. That would be funny. It's just like going back to that stuff. There's not enough meat here to this movie. It's like fast food. It's not a good meal, and it's not a terrible meal to complain about. You know, it's just kind of like a 2-star review. So I think I might have messed up with this, but this was an experiment. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you got enough entertainment value out of this. You know, I probably talk. I actually think something like Batman v Superman would be funny. I think there's a lot of material there to talk about. I think, you know, Return of the Jedi would be a fun. Phantom Menace, there's a lot to talk about. This movie, on the other hand, I think I just made it. But I hope you guys had a good time. I'm sorry if it wasn't funnier. I just ran out of things to talk about with this. What do you think of Drake and Push AT beef? I think there's always those stupid beefs. I'm not really into the rapper beefs. I always find them kind of stupid, ridiculous. And I'm not that big of a Drake fan anyway. I mean, Drake's okay, but... Balls of Fury, that's right. What's Fists of Fury? Is that the 80s retro movie? Wait, no, that's Kung Fury. Is Fists of Fury a Kung Fu movie? Like Jet Li or something? I guess I could do my Ex Machina commentary. I guess maybe next week I could do a serious film that I actually like. And actually do an analysis. That might actually be a better idea, because when me trying to do this Mystery Science Theater thing, you know, you never know. And it's usually you gotta watch the film before, but some films that I love, like Ex Machina, or like Empire Strikes Back, or I don't know, trying to think of something that would be fun. Let me Say Anything. I think I could do good commentaries for and explain what each scene does from a storytelling beat, what the themes are, tell a little bit of history about it and all that stuff. I think that'd be fun. It's a Bruce... Oh yeah, Fist of Fury. That's right, it is Bruce Lee. Yeah. Great start to your commentary venture. Yeah, do commentaries. Oh, Ghostbusters would be a good one, the female one. That would be one to make a lot of fun of. Although I love doing one for the original Ghost. Yeah, maybe I should think about doing one for a good film. You know, and being like, hey, this is why this movie works. And break down, yeah, The Last Jedi, yeah, but break down why a movie works and why it's good, and explain that aspect to it, and what things I've picked up over the years. You know, that was originally me and Blood Money we're going to do with the show, 3-Course Cinema. We were going to watch 3 movies a month based off directors we like. So we were going to watch, like, The Thing, Escape from New York, and, like, Halloween or Prince of Darkness over October with John Carpenter. Then we were going to have a Kubrick month. And we were going to watch the film the night before and then watch it and give a commentary about, like, why this film's great, and talk about, like, analysis we have and theories, and basically do a long essay. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. I thought this would be more of, like, me just, you know, breaking down things. But, you know, whatever. If it passed the time, if you guys, like, got something out of it and it passed your time, that's absolutely what it was supposed to do. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed our journey to Michael Bay's Transformers. There's some funny jokes in Balls of Fury. What do you think about video games? Well, that's a broad question. I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want this to go 3 hours, and it's supposed to be a commentary for people to listen to later. But I will be doing Box Office Addict tomorrow, talking about Solo's big drops. If you guys can tune in tomorrow, I'll be doing that sometime at like 4 probably Eastern. It's only 2:48 here. I'm kind of losing my voice. I'd like to get some food. I might take a nap. Might get some more coffee. I don't know. But thank you for tuning into my Transformers commentary. I hope you guys had a good time. I had a fun time talking to you guys. You guys always make it great. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully you can watch the movie along with me later, because this upload will stay up even after we're done here. I'm done with the recording. I'll play some music out for you guys. And I just appreciate this. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next Saturday, hopefully, where I'll be doing a commentary for another film. And I'm going to try to keep this up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it every week, because it depends on my work and all that. But at least, you know, a couple times a month, hopefully I can do commentaries. And I think Saturday's a good day to do them. I probably won't always do them during the daytime like this. I'd like to do one at nighttime. I think I'd be funnier at night, have more energy. It's kind of tough to have energy at, like, it's kind of awkward to do something at 12. It's lunchtime. It's not really a great time to be doing stuff like this. But I just wanted to get it out of the way and kind of see the experiment. But I'll see you guys next Saturday. I should be able to do it next Saturday, so look out for that. I'll figure out what movie I want. Leave a request in the comment section of what you want me to talk over if you enjoyed this. And I haven't really come up with a name for the show yet, but let's just call it like you know, Saturday set-in or something like that, the Saturday watch, the Saturday commentaries, you know, whatever, you know, move, I don't know. Three-Course Cinema was a good name, actually, but that wouldn't really fit this. But yeah, actually pitch that too. Give me what movie you want me to watch, and pitch me what you would like the show to be called if this becomes a regular thing on Saturdays. So I'll see you guys next week.